Welcome, family. Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes. Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes. I hope everybody's doing well today. Hope everybody's having an eventful day. I know out there in my old stomping grounds in the Bay, uh, folks is dealing with a big storm out there. I hope all of y'all is doing well. Don't let that storm get to you. Know we done turned into the land of the I say California now since I ain't back at home. But back in the Bay. I'm at home for sure though. But back in the Bay, past 4 or 5 years now, it's been known as a wildfire capital out there. So any rain we can get, any water we can get at any given time is a blessing. Uh, the media is so funny how they sensationalize natural occurrences. It's really funny to me how just 2 months ago it was too hot. It wasn't no water. It was a threat of water shortages. And now that the prayers have been answered, I don't think too many people outside of farmers and horticulturalists was actually praying for water. But then you have the citizenry, all the residents who are clamoring and making a big fuss out of not having no water. And then when the water actually comes, oh, now everyone's scared. Everyone's running like, you know, they ain't got no sense, and people losing their cool because now it's the 4 or 5 day storm that's coming or that can hit. And prayers have been answered, but nobody know what to do about it now. You would think they'd be out there collecting the rain. I think California then turned into one of those states though, where if you collect rainwater, you get penalized for it if they catch you, which is a total buffoonery, total buffoonery, total buffoonery at its finest. Well, I thank y'all uh, for joining me today. I like to get straight to it, best I can, and how I'm led. Uh, as a matter of fact, I ain't even been asleep yet. Keep it real with you. I've been up, and it was one of my daughter's birthdays yesterday. So we was out there making sure she had a beautiful day, and she is very grateful and thankful. Very grateful and thankful. And so we're very happy with how she's coming along and wanted to celebrate the Most High for her special day, for for the gift of her into this family. So it was January 2nd. I'm going to give y'all some background about what's transpired over the last week, and most high willing, I'll have the space to do that. It's going to take a little getting used to saying this name. Okay, like no cap. It's going to take some getting used to, and I just released 2 videos, just published 2 videos. They took me forever to work on because I use this particular app, and the app, it at times it wants to be finicky with the limit size that I'm able to actually publish a video and share the video with and render the video, I should say. And so I like using it for the ease. It's in my hand. I have the iMovies and the Final Cut and all of that, and I think I'm going to start whipping that out again. But usually I have this thing when I get in the cut, the iMovie, those sorts of programs. I tend to go longer than I would like with a production. And one of the things that I like about going live or keeping it to this app, my messages are the messages that come through me with this app. Is that I know if I go over 12 minutes, it's gonna be some issues. And so I like to try to keep it at 12 minutes or under with the app. And that way I know for sure that the messages are going to be pretty concise and straight to the point, for the medium that is being pushed through. Okay. But I just released two videos, a part one, part two, in regards to the true name of the Most High, undeniable proof. Those are some strong words. Those are some very strong words, especially in 2023, where you would think we had it together. You would think that we had things figured out, you know. Um, One thing about your brother, True Jew, is that I'm not here to compete with anybody. One thing I tell my children all the time is you don't want to deal with false competition. What's false competition? Measuring yourself up against somebody else who you don't know, just met. Even if you do know them and you just met them and you seem to have some things in common, you seem to be working it out. People change. People change every day. So to measure yourself against one man one day and expecting that man to not change once you got him figured out for the next day is foolish. It's foolish. Okay. Instead, measure yourself up daily and address yourself, address your own shortcomings as weaknesses that you can uh, capitalize on for yourself. We don't never like it when somebody spots a so-called weakness in us and takes advantage of us. Nobody likes that. But the key to that is we have what's called so-called losses, so-called lessons. And when we say we took the L, I like to think it was a lesson. Okay. When you take the lesson and you deal with it correctly, you learn from it. See all these L's going around. When you learn from the lesson, you get stronger. You get stronger. I found myself quoting that saying, you do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And I know a lot of us, we bang our heads on the wall because after a while, that feeling, metaphorically, we start getting used to it. We start getting used to it. And we get used to it thinking that the weight and pressure from our head banging up against that wall is going to be what it is to break the wall down. Okay. And the whole time, that wall had a door connected to it. And all we had to do was stop for a minute, realize the situation in cool headedness and calmness, and then walk through the door. Okay. So it's been some years now. I remember my first time realizing that God, God, and Lord, Lord, were not the names of the Most High. And let me tell you, I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed on what the name of the Most High was. And I remember sometime in 2015, I was going to pick up one of my sons from school. And I remember how I was driving behind this little pickup truck. And the pickup truck had a bumper sticker right there on the back, y'all. I kid you not, a bumper sticker. And it said, got Yahuwah. Like got milk, got Yahuwah. And I was like, wow, wow. I've been praying about the real name or the name that the Most High would call himself. And I knew about certain phrases in the scripture. I knew about Ahaya, Asher, Ahaya. I knew about I am that I am. I definitely did. And I noticed that in the Hebrew Israelite community, there was a lot going on in regards to the names. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. You know, I spoke on that earlier. Uh, there's no other name under heaven, that we can be saved by. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Acts chapter 4, verse 12. And I appreciate it. Look, I turned straight to it by the grace of the Most High. So when you get on this walk, you know, like I like to say, it's one thing to know who you are. Okay. It's one thing to know who you are, but that's only That might just be a quarter or a third of the battle. I haven't quite figured it out yet. It's difficult to ascertain at times because you think something as easy as wanting to know who you are is a desire that many people who don't know who they are actually have. But when you live long enough and you start to see that this walk isn't for everybody, and that many folks are actually called to this walk, but a few only answer that phone. There's only a few who take a moment out of their busy days to pick up that phone and listen to the voice on the other end. There's only a few who will open the door after that knock. So I find that the more inquisitive a person is, the more that person might be, might is a strong word, might be somebody who wants to dig deeper than normal. I also know that this walk can be very, not just lonely, but at times heartbreaking. We get to a point where we think we know it all, and we are upset that people won't listen to the tutelage that comes forth from you, or us, I should say. We get frustrated when people are quick to do the thing that we believe is destructive. And we have to really take account of the energy that we put in to waking, so called waking people up, and remembering that we aren't the ones who do the waking. No matter how much we want to share something, no matter how much we think we have the answer, no matter how much we go over and over and over and over what it is that we would like to share, it is the Most High that does all of the revealing. It is the Most High that does all of the stirring up, the waking up. It's just that in a moment's time, we were blessed with insight about a subject that one other person might be interested in who is working toward that insight in themselves. Most birds fly, but just because most birds fly doesn't mean that most birds are going to fly the same direction. This is why that saying, birds of a feather flock together, is because when you think about birds of a feather, that's a metaphor for birds of the same kind, or a deeper metaphor for birds of the same pursuits. Okay, birds of the same pursuits. Surface level, we like to think that flamingos only fly with flamingos, and eagles only fly with eagles, and crows only fly with crows, and vultures with vultures, and hawks with hawks, you know. But on a deeper level, birds that fly are going to fly the same sky. But are they going to fly in the same direction is the question. When you realize that there's a resource or an asset that needs to be attained, regardless of creed, regardless of race, regardless of type, regardless of kind, we begin to see that there's a common ground, and that's what draws out the unity of a thing. We all seek at one point or time to be unified. Okay. However, that unification comes with a price. The price being sometimes you will be in unification with somebody who is not your type, not your kind, because everybody who's of your type and kind refuses to see what it is that you seek to do. And I know that in this day, you have what folk in the, I don't know what community is a part of now, whether they say it's the woke community, the conscious community. I don't know what community it is, but I know that folks like to talk about soul tribes. And to an extent, I see some validity in that. But I see more validity in the walk on the path until the journey must end. Have you ever been walking with somebody and you didn't know them while you was on your journey, but you met up with the person at a very crucial point in your journey? And because both of y'all met up at a very crucial point, It was the emotional attachment to the journey based off of meeting at that point when no one could have planned for you to meet except for you both working towards your destination and happen to meet up on that part of the journey to where you become bonded in the sense that you both have something that you would like to achieve and you just so have had crossed paths, right? Haven't you noticed how we live in seasons when that happens? Some of us cross paths with individuals, and our seasons walking down the journey is a block's worth, a mile worth, 10 miles worth, 15 miles worth, a day's worth, 3 days, 4 days worth. And then it's a segue, and both parties have to go their separate ways. A lot of times, though, that energy takes place with angst, so that when the person leaves or when you have to leave, there's a sour taste on your tongue about it. Now we would like to get journey with folk and build outside of the common goal. Now what does that mean? That means that if you and I met because of the truth, or because I'm reading the Bible and you like to read the Bible, the scriptures, the Torah, then that's a good place to start. It's a beautiful place to start because we're talking about foundation built upon the rock. Who is the rock? Well, we're gonna get into that. You know who the rock is, though, I hope. And I ain't talking about Dwayne Johnson. I'm not talking about Dwayne Johnson. I'm talking about the one the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Okay. I wanted to speak this way. I didn't really know exactly what I was going to say, but I knew I wanted to speak from an introductory perspective because this topic is one like this where you can be in accord with a person for years, but when you start talking about the name of the Most High, and that individual has been calling the Most High a different name or referring to the Most High in a different name based off of their leg of the journey where they are, it can cause some angst. It can cause some disagreement. But that's why it's beautiful to be built upon the rock of the word, that foundation. Because when there's a disagreement, that disagreement doesn't have to be in hatred. When there's a disagreement, that disagreement doesn't have to be in anger. It can be a disagreement which is embodied by the fruits of the Spirit. And I know we have that, what you want to call it, dopamine response, chemical response, mind, right? That seems to kick in whenever it's funk season, seems to kick in whenever it's time to put up a dukes and it's up, it's stuck. That type of mentality, you know. And of course, that's a detriment to us as a people, and not just a people, a kind of people, but a whole, as a whole. Politicians use that method daily to conquer and divide the citizens of this country and all countries in order to keep us in division, focusing on the menial things instead of mm, us getting to a point where we could focus on the major things that affect all of us. And many people have fallen in between the cracks because of that. I like to think that I am one of those people who've been blessed to guard himself. Okay. And all that simply means is thinking before I leap, thinking before I react to the best of my ability. And we have reactions and then we have responses, right? I like to respond knowing that my reactions could be volcanic. Okay, that's just real talk, you know. I've been studying lions lately, and I really been looking at them big cats, and they are some funny animals. And I keep having a daydream that you find me out in the safari by myself, them lions is gonna know what's up with me. And I'm not able to speak for everybody, but I've had some encounters with some lions before. You know, I'm from Vallejo, and we have what's called Discovery Kingdom. It used to be called Marine World, and I think it was the world's or the nation's first theme park mixed with animal wildlife and rides. But when I was a little boy, they had right before I was born, I think sometime in the 70s. I'm an 80s baby when I was born. But I think that they was in Redwood City, I think 1977, 78 around there. Then they relocated to Vallejo, and that's where they've been ever since. But one day my family and I went on, and we've been going to Marine Road our whole life, field trips for school and all that type of thing. So it wasn't really nothing of the ordinary to go. But one day, it's about 5 years ago, we went and we decided not to go on the rides, too much. I had this feeling that I needed to go check on the animals. I used to be I made the paper for I'm an artist too, for y'all don't know. I'm an artist in many different facets. I made the paper for I'm an artist too, for y'all don't know. I'm an artist in many different facets. But I made the paper as a little boy during what they had, the Marine World art class. And we would go during the summertime and for about a week or so. And we would draw and we would talk about the different animals, the anatomy of these creatures, and look at how special they were. Now, when I first started going there, Marine World didn't have no rides, so it was all about the animals and the attractions of the animals. It wasn't until later on they added the roller coasters and the fair type, energy. The What y'all got, Six Flags. It's Six Flags Discovery Kingdom now. So if you've ever been to Six Flags, what that environment is like. But we decided to walk back by the lions, the lion enclosure, and they just so happened to be out. And I stopped the family and we just looked. And folks had been walking by. It was rather busy. And we just stopped and I happened to be like one of the only people that all right, let's see. Connection is a little unstable. Yo, yo, yo. Works for you? Oh, okay. Well, let me just keep talking then. It says it's unstable on my end, so I just keep talking. What's up, family? So the lions get to roaring. The lions get to roaring and at me, but not in an anger way. They talking to me, and I talk back to him, and they went and all that kind of stuff, and it was amazing because I just knew that we had each other's back, and even if it was for a moment, we was gonna have each other's back, and we both discussed how, hey man, I know you from Africa just like me. We both got stole away, bruh. And I don't know how we ended up in Vallejo, California. I don't know how that happened. We about as far away from Africa as anybody could be. But it was amazing because we connected. And the lion knew me, and I knew the lion. Now, to bring that back to the point I was making about walking in unity and in unison, we have to realize that it's gonna come a point in our lives when we working and walking with folk, and that journey is going to continue, but it's always going to go back to the original reason why your journey started in the first place. And that goes for both sides. When you meet somebody a third of the way, a halfway along your journey, you have to remember that you didn't start off with that person in your journey. And unless y'all both started off the journey at the same time, with the same intent, without a change of mind about how you were going to go about achieving your goal to reach your destiny, you can count that. You can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to finish the journey with that individual, and that both of you all are going to reach your destination more than likely at separate times. Okay. And that's something that I've learned over the years. And I've actually learned to appreciate that. And I've learned to love it. But on a platform, excuse me, y'all. For y'all who just coming in, Shabbat Shalom. I didn't go to sleep yet. Okay. I've been up here really looking at this study. And I said, you know what? It don't make no sense to go to sleep right now. It's very early. The Shabbat, the sun coming out. And I said, you know what? Let's catch folks while the day is still fresh. Let's catch folks while we still got some time to think instead of later on the evening like I've been doing the past few weeks. So what's up with this name? What's going on with the name? And I know it's kind of like, bro, wasn't you just saying the name last lesson? And I was January 2nd, and I hope this still works. Because I still got that sign that say your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. I really hope it's stable. So I'm just gonna keep going, and hopefully, y'all don't get thrown off by if it looks like it's buffering or whatever. But I hope that the person is able to go through. All right, all right. Thank you, brother D Warner. Well, we're gonna keep rocking. I we rolling. Okay. I had a vision on January 2nd, and I won't get too heavy into the vision because I've already started this introduction. All I know is I woke up with this deeper understanding on the name of the Most High. And I was led to some very crucial points within the narrative of the scriptures that showed me that what was placed on my heart concerning the name of the Most High was very real. And that the only way that we, as a people in the Western Hemisphere with westernized minds, were going to be able to grasp the concepts that were shared to me through this dream was that if we released westernized thinking for a moment, if any of us have hatred for Mama Africa, if any of us have hatred for where we came from, then it was going to be an issue to learn the true name of the Most High. And like I said, this topic is weighty and it can get very heavy. And I've seen folks argue. I've seen folks not be friends no more. I've seen folks not walk together no more. Oh, all praises. So the reception then came back for us. Oh, and it went back out again. So we just gonna keep it going. But I've seen folks that started off cool end up going into funk mode for real. And I think this is kind of why I always disclaim this channel, especially for the new supporters. Hey, everybody who's a new supporter, I don't deal with subscribers. We do support around here. So hopefully you have something that you feel is of value to the world, and I will support you wholeheartedly as well. But I I know that doing this walk for so long now that things can get very tight when this subject pops up. We're talking about the restoration and the return to a place that has almost been foreign to us, even though we are naturally connected to it. Many of us by genetic remembrance, is like I like to call it. A deep, innate know, not even a belief. It's deeper than belief. It's knowing that you know something that can't nobody take away from you. You stand on it because you know it. And so many of us go through that. I remember the first time I heard the name Yahuwah after I had prayed. And I know when we say after I did this or I did that, it's like, well, so, so what you prayed? But I don't like to hit it like that. I really don't. I like to listen to what folks got to say and at least respect their attempt at wanting to connect with the Most High. Okay, that's what I focus on. That's the angle of when people say, "Oh, I prayed and I did." I like to just think that okay, the person at least sought communication with the creative power instead of taking matters into their own hand immediately and doing something potentially foolish and harmful. That's what I like to look at. Okay, now when we talk about restoration, remediation, renewal. What's another R word? Resurgence. Ooh, that's a good one. Resurgence. Already surging like a current, but to resurge, to come back to a flow which was at one time natural to you, but the flow has been diverted for some reason. Like a dam, like a dam, a river dam, where the river's flowing so fluently, abundantly provided nutrients for life of all types. And then someone comes along and dams the river to where the water stops trickling in a fluid way. And it needs resurgence. It needs that dam needs to be broken down. It needs to be removed. And we've had a dam in our lives concerning the flow of information. A dam was put up in our minds that stopped us from being able to articulate and being able to think and to extrapolate thought in a way where we could ponder it, where we can meditate on it, like we say in my hood, marinate on it, where we could come back out of that deep place of thought with something of extreme value. This is very important, y'all. At least it's important to me. My first tattoo, I got my first tattoo when I was 15 years old. And I thought I was doing something because I said, well, if I gotta talk my mom into let me get a tattoo because she was going to have to sign the paper to let me get tattooed. I said, well, let me do something where I know if at least I say this is what I want, she'll be more inclined to sign that paper. So I said, let me get this one. And the tattoo was Lord forgive. Now up to that time with my little Bible reading eyes, I thought Lord was talking about the Most High as long as it was in capital letters, right? As long as it was in capital letters. I had heard of the name Jehovah before, Jireh, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah this and Jehovah that. I heard of those names, but there was a point in my studies where I was like, who is Jehovah? As a little boy, I didn't know who Jehovah was. And then when JayZ came out calling himself Hova, I was like, oh, he must think he's Jehovah. So I left it alone altogether, right? Not knowing that JayZ has been speaking Hebrew to us, which I have a lesson on. JayZ calls himself Hova. Side note, and Hova in Hebrew means mischief, ruin, and destruction. So you can imagine the damage that brother has done by going city to city and not coming out to the stage until the whole arena is chanting Hova, Hova. And of course, that means mischief, ruin, destruction. And I thought about a lot as I began to get deeper into the truth, and it affected me at a point. but not to the point where it's gonna stop me or nothing. It's just one of them things where it's like, hey man, dude sick, bro. He done got one in on me. He done got one in on me for years because I used to be one of the only Bay Area JayZ fans. My homies used to, man, let me tell you, my partners, they wasn't with no JayZ. I was the only one listening to JayZ for heck of long. Wasn't nobody listening to no JayZ over there in the Bay, but me and a couple other folks. But my point is, I felt like, man, dude got one over on me once I realized what was going on. And so I understand how it could feel to be told one thing and to latch on to it, to grasp it, to feel like we know it. And then something shakes up, something happens where we no longer see, and I don't want to say the validity, but no longer see the fullness of that thing as we once thought it was. How about that? We don't see the fullness of that thing. And this is all part of the restoration, though, because when you have something that's damaged, when you have something that isn't clarified, when you have something that needs fixing, a lot of times it's not going to be together. It's not going to be how it once was, right? And when something isn't as it once was, there's pretty much only two types who is going to deal with that thing in two type of ways for the most part. And it goes back to that saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. A person is either going to trash that thing that they remember being one way, but is no longer that way, so that thing is now useless to that person, or the person is going to have what we call nostalgia. Okay, that emotional attachment to something, and that something might not be the fullness of what it once was, but the person remembers what it looked like when it was what it once was. And because that person holds a deep emotional attachment to what it used to be, that person is in position to take what others construe as trash, pick it up, place it back together, and then represent it as what it once was. Okay. When we talk about the names of the Most High, this is a very tricky and touchy subject. Okay. It's a very tricky and touchy subject. I wanna I wanna read something to you. I want to read something to you. Now, this can be found at the in the forward of the ISR version of the scriptures. Okay, as a matter of fact, uh, this version is called the scriptures. Okay, and so when I think about this version of the scriptures, I think about how they've done their best to bring the names back into fruition, the correct names of the Messiah, Ahmad, in the correct name of the Most High, and that of the prophets as well, and the books, the names, the Hebrew names of the books, Hebrew placements, Hebrew places, place names, the prophets, and as many as uh, viable to an English westernized mind. Now, the thing that if you watch the videos that I just published, undeniable proof, you'll see that I have an emphasis on African tonal languages. Okay, Afro-Asiatic, Afro-Semitic, Bantu, Niger, Congo. Okay, um, Nilo-Saharan. We're talking about these languages because this is where we're from. Now, when the Gentiles took over our land, as what was prophesied for them to do, we got into a rut as a people. We were in between a rock and a hard place because Not only did these people commandeer the land, but they were able to commandeer the image of our people in such a way where, as long as they maintained a sort of semblance to what once was, they might be able to trick the world at large as to who they claim to be, but are really not. And due to our downfall as a people, which, they say you can't go lower than this. It's only one way up. Is up from here. When you at your bottom, there's only one way to go, and that's up. So we had one enormous downfall, so much so to the point where now that we begin to rise up, we are also moving away from their narratives concerning who we are and concerning what it was that we had access to, which was taken for a while in order to try and test us. And this is why I do my best not to get upset, not to get angry, and not to be frazzled and frustrated when it comes to life and when it comes to uh, what we have been pitted against. I do my absolute best to share with y'all how important it is to look at your individual situation as belonging to a whole, but looking at your situation as part and parcel to that whole. Meaning, you had a hand in whatever it is we got going on. At one point of this journey, you had a hand in what it was. The other day I made a joke with my Isha, and I was like, oh, I had to have been here before. I know I reincarnated. I had to be here before. And I had this joke that came to me. I'm up in heaven, and it's before I came back down. I'm up in heaven, and the Most High looking at me, say, "Son, it's time to go back down. I got a job for you. You go back down." And I say, "Man, I gotta go back down now. You sure?" He like, "Yeah, man. I need you back down there." I said, "Well, are you sure I gotta go?" He's like, "Yeah. I I need you down there, son." So I said, "All right, look. What time is it in there?" He like, "Oh, it's gonna be 1980 something on their calendar, son." I said, ain't that close to when you supposed to be coming back? On their calendar, son. I said, ain't that close to when you supposed to be coming back? Ain't that close to when you supposed to be making your visitation? He said, yeah, exactly. My point, son. You're gonna have to go down there and wake some folk up. I need you down there. So I said, all right, well, listen, I don't wanna be the wealthiest man. I don't have to have all the fancy clothes. I don't have to have the nicest car. I don't have to have the big house. I don't have to have the riches of the world and none of that. I said, Father, just please, whatever you do, even if you put me in the middle of the ghetto, please, just whatever you do, make me one of your children. Please just make sure I go back down there as an Israelite. That's all. That's all I want. If you could just send me down there as an Israelite, I'll go. I'll go. No matter what we done been through, no matter what we didn't have to face, can't nobody say at the end of the day, if you an Israelite, I'm talking about a real Israelite, can't nobody say you ain't had one heck of a life. I don't care about all the oppression, all the hatred, all the jealousy, all of the all of the knocking down, all of the mess that you didn't have to face just being who you are in your flesh. I know would none of us give it back. Would none of us give it back because it take a strong, strong individual to get through the things that we done been through. It really does. And when you can laugh about it and when you can joke about it, it helps liberate your mind in a way to be able to continue doing the work. Okay. It's like watching one of them old timers at the job out there doing what he been doing for 35, 40 years, and you trying to figure out how he does it every day. Well, He understands his responsibility to himself, his family. He understands what it means to uh, work in a sense where he don't have to be frazzled by none of the things that would affect the new guy, and he knows a secret to life. And part of that secret is going with the flow of life. Them waves come, ride them. Don't try to swim into them and fight them. Ride them waves. Figure out a way to float and ride them things. When we talking about the name, I had prayed about this back in 2015. And once I thought I had my answer, I was very grateful. And it's funny because I stopped praying about that particular subject. Thought I had it. But it wasn't until January 2nd of this year that a new angle hit my thinking and hit my mind. See, I knew that the letter J wasn't no good up until about 1526. Okay, so the letter J didn't even exist up until about 1526. And when I learned that fact, I said that would be the 16th century, okay? When I learned that fact, I said, well, ain't no way the most high name could be Jehovah. And it ain't no way that Hamashiach name could be Jesus. Because letter J didn't even exist in their day. Okay, so I had to deal with that. I had to deal with that. I know my name is True Jew on here, but I like to look at that as an English description, okay, for this time today. But I'm clear about that. I know that. But the letter J didn't exist. And when I think about how serious this walk gets day to day, to want to know the truth and to want to know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, one thing I learned is that I have to keep on chipping away. I want to say you have to keep on chipping away, but that sounds very controlling. We like to talk like that. People say you, but they really talking about themselves. Well, when you do this and when you shoot the ball like this, you really want to. No, I really want to. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. You need to tell you what you need to do. Now, see, I gave it to you straight up. You need to tell you what you finna do. All I could do is live the way I've been called to live, right? And so I'm looking at this name and something keeps sticking out to me. I remember as a little boy reading that Lord was the name or title chosen by a group of writers or scribes because they felt that the true name of the Most High was too sacred to speak. And I always thought that that was strange, never really quite having scripture to back it up. But I always thought that that was strange. And the reason I thought it was strange is because they made other names to call the Most High. So I was like, well, the Most High got to have a name. Most High got to have a name. But these men keep making up names for him that's not listed as a name that he could call himself. And then it just so happened that they could choose a word like Lord, where they suck the L or the Y for the L, the H for the O, the W for the R, and the H for the D. And I was like, man, something not right about this. Something not right about this. So, and this was after I got my tattoo, by the way. Okay, so this after I got that tattoo. But now I'm at this place where I desperately want to know what's going on with the Most High and the Word. I want to know who I am even more. I've always had that inclination as a little boy, but to be closer to adulthood and to be able to do something about it is very important to me. I noticed that the word Jehovah was only three syllables. Jehovah. So I was like, well, how can Jehovah be YHWH in English letters, in Latin letters? How can it be YHWH, but Jehovah? What does that last H stand for? Then I learned that modern speakers of Hebrew say Yod Hey Wah Hey. So when I heard that, I was like, hey, maybe, just maybe, that's how you begin to say the name. Then I got sucked into the conversation about, well, no one knows what the true name is. So, just do your best. And God knows where your heart is. You know that speech. And I was like, man, if somebody keep calling me Billy, when they know my name is Jew, and person keep calling me Billy, and then say, oh, don't worry, he know where my heart is. I would say, yeah, your heart is in to keep calling me something that's not my name. And if you keep it up, it's going to be problems. I keep telling you what my name is, and you keep disregarding what I'm telling you. Now, some folk in that respect will say, well, when the Most High told us his name again, as we've been doing this and doing that. I think it's a few people who know the true name of the Most High, but they're selfish and they haven't been divulging that name because of whatever their. And I have to say selfish because when you go back to those Masoretes and you talk about how they hid the name Most High by over 6,300 and something times. Let me see. Up 6,823 times. The Most High spoke his name in the scriptures. And every single one of those times in a modern King James translation, NIV, CET, whatever translation you have, it's going to say Lord or God. And I was like, yo, this is wicked. This is wicked because the Most High told us to remember it throughout all the generations. And we were supposed to remember that name. And when we didn't remember it any longer, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? But when I look at those words, Yahweh, I'm like, how does that happen? And of course, like to say Yahweh is uh, YHWH and YH. They put the Y and the A in there. And then what? The H and then the W and then the E and then the H. But what happens to the rest of everything? Where's the rest of the letters at? Let me see how they do it. They do it like that. Where's the rest of the letters though? Y, H, W, H. So then when I learned about Yahuwah, I also learned about Yahweh. Okay, I learned about Ahia. Okay, these different names. And each one of those names, it's three syllables. Yahuwah, Yahweh, Ahia. I'm like, wait a second, where is the last syllable? Also, the Gentiles introduced a way of thinking that was foreign to us. And once we got into the swing of how they speak, it's been very difficult to break. Of course, until we started getting into our different forms of music. And what do I mean by that? I'm speaking right now, and you don't hear many tonal inflections in my voice. It's almost monotone, but it's a natural monotone based off of the English language. It's accepted to speak that way. If I go like, man, or it's accepted, that's when you begin to hear tonal inflections in my voice. But then most people would associate that inflection with a sense of excitement, right? Or if I lower my voice and I go like this, and then I raise it up, you might think I'm bipolar. Or if I just stay like this, and then, hey, how you doing? And then you're gonna think something's wrong with me emotionally. Whereas in our original tongues, in our original languages, we spoke tonally. This is why the drum was so important to our people. See, this is what the Gentile slave owner was afraid of. But when we were taught about the drum in the westernized miseducation system, I know me, I'm a drummer. I was a captain of my drum line. I always thought that the drumming itself was a sign of presence. Okay. If you heard drums over yonder and you heard drums over here, I thought it was based off of a sign of presence. Hey, family, don't worry, you're not alone. We over here. Or hey, family, don't worry, you're not alone. We're over here. And then maybe at times, depending on, excuse me, the rhythmic approach to the drums, like if they were more heavy sounding, I would think, okay, maybe that's a drum, an attack drum, a warrior call. But it goes deeper than that. In southwest Nigeria, you have Omoluwabi, okay, also known as Yoruba people. In Yoruba land, there is an instrument called a talking drum. Boom, 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 boom. That's what it sounds like for the most part. Boom, 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 boom. And it has a little hook on it, and the drum goes right here under the armpit. It has 10 sinew. It has strings attached to it. And if you squeeze the strings when you strike the head of the drum, it gets tighter. Boom, 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 boom. When you let them go, boom, 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 boom. So, all right, it's called a talking drum. Well, all of this began to hit me in regards to the ancient Hebrew language on January 2nd. Like, I'm talking about like that. And what hit me was that the ancient Hebrew, just like hundreds and thousands of other African languages, it was tonal. And this is why the ancient Hebrew has been so hard to decipher. Or the reason why those who might know the deciphering code refuse to speak the language in its correct form and fashion. So I'm not going to put anything past them to say that I don't know how the language is truly spoken. But what I will say is this: the language spoken correctly holds so much power because it is the holy tongue. It is the tongue that was spoken and uttered as the universe and world was created. When the scriptures tell us, and the Most High spoke this into existence, we're talking about a supernatural form of vibration. Okay. We're talking about vibration on such a level where, and by such a great force, that when those utterances made, they vibrated at different frequencies to create creation. See, I don't know who serve who. I don't know how folks look at the Most High, but this is how I look at the Most High. We think about thought, right? And I at the Most High as being the one who created thought. Okay. We think about creating in our mind. I'm an artist. So I think about creating in my mind, but in reality, there's nothing new under the sun. And all I'm doing is procreating. Okay. We're procreators. We take what has been and we reinvigorate it with our own perspective. And it seems to be innovative. But the truth of the matter is, we do not create essence. We can use air, but we do not create the molecules which make the air that we breathe. We can use water in creative ways, but we do not create the mist that forms the drop that lands into the cup that we then use for water's purpose. We can think, but we do not create inspiration in and of ourselves. We can use creative force to inspire and motivate, but that force comes from one who had the wisdom and knowledge to actually create it and manifest it for us to use. That's how I look at the Most High. So I do my best not to box in the Most High, because the Most High created the box, the folds, the space in the box that we put things into, and the space outside of the box, created space, created time. All of these ordinances and laws we utilize subconsciously day to day had to have been created because they work so fluently together. So when I think about the Most High, I'm thinking about a force that is not only greater than my understanding, and overstanding can comprehend, but also a force who loved me and you enough to create us in that image. I hope y'all are hearing me. I really do. As I begin to think about the name of the Most High, we know about the Tetragrammaton. We know about how modern Hebrew speakers utilize these words: Yod, He, Wah, He. And I was like, something's wrong about that. But then there's something right about it as well. When we speak the letters of the Most High, I always wondered why we can speak these letters, but then there's four letters: Yod, and I'm just Yod. That's not how you should say that letter, but my Hebrew speakers would say Yod, He, Vav, or Wah, Hey. And that's how most of us get Yahuwah, because we're thinking that that Wah letter is said Wah, okay, like it's a W. But what had been revealed to me is that that sound is not a W sound. It's actually a V sound. And when I began to look deeper at a certain people, there was two particular peoples of West Africa that stuck out to me the most. And I have kinsmen, brothers who I can call, elder sisters who I can call and reach out to in regards to this particular leg of information for confirmation. But I didn't do that this time. I woke up being able to finally have the pieces of the puzzle more closely put together so that the image be made clear for me. But I realized immediately on January 2nd that one of the major keys to us missing out on the true name of the Most High is the fact that in our westernized mind, we speak monotone. We speak in one tone in English. And we have been so inundated with having to speak English over and over. English has spread far and wide to where now other countries have adopted it as a first language when they had their own tongue. Okay. That's how pervasive English has become, how invasive, I should say. So, if we're talking about a lost people who is just now waking up to who we are, but has been shown these scriptures since birth, been told to turn the other cheek when someone slaps you, and told to love your neighbor, but you not no place around uh anywhere, anybody who could possibly be construed as your kinsman, or when you're around your kinsman, all you can think about is hatred because towards that brother, because part of the curses placed on us was to have a hatred toward our brother, and to a hatred toward our wives, and a hatred toward our children. That was going to be one of the curses. But we didn't know that for so long. We didn't know that. So when I realized that we are truly an African people, I had to begin to do the due diligence in the work. But I have kinsmen, the Ewe people and the Yoruba people, right? I'm just gonna say Yoruba for right now, but you heard me say Omoluabi. Okay, that means son of the soil, child of the soil. Okay, when I began talking with one of my dear brothers who is Ed, I remember the first time I saw that word, EWE. Even the atheists praise the Most High. Yah, inhale, way, exhale. Yah, way, Yah. Well, I'm gonna work on that one. I'm gonna work on that one. I'm gonna work on that one. Welcome, welcome, brother. Been a minute. Work on that one. Thank you for that. My brother, he told me, no, bruh, you don't say this word Ewe, EWE. It's not Ewe. That's how a westernized mind would say the word Ewe. I'm sure when I say EWE, you might think Ewe, you might think you like a sheep. But the people, Ewe, okay? And immediately, it took me a while to get this, but on January 2nd, it hit me of this year. It hit me. Eve. Wow. That is so Hebrew. And I know it's like, hey, brother, don't be trying to put other stuff on other people now. You don't try to make it fit where it don't fit. And I'm like, no, 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 no. It fits. Because we have a letter in Hebrew that's WAW. But a westernized mind would say wah. And the reason I know that is because we called the Most High Yahuwah, thinking that, oh, that W is a wah sound. But we've been relegating our African heritage. In most African speaking countries, do not use the W like that. It's spoken as a V. It's spoken as a V sound. Okay? B. So when I looked at the word Eve, and I said, whoa, that sounds just like the Bob sound from the Hebrew letter. I said, okay, there's something going on there. Then I began to think closely about Yoruba and how those drums, back to the drums, the reason the slave owners didn't want us to drum is not because of any rhythmic pattern, not because of a certain groove that could be played, but because we, as drummers, natural drummers, have the ability to make the drum speak and talk. Okay? And just like the talking drum that the Yoruba play, many of you might not know this. When that talking drum plays, nobody has to vocalize what is actually being played. Each syllable of Yoruba language, Ede Yoruba, each syllable can be played on that talking drum and conveyed in such a way where it sounds like somebody is talking. Okay? It sounds like somebody is actually talking. And if you can code a message in the patterns that are played off a drum head, you can communicate in ways that a slave owner or any owner would not be able to understand unless that was a native tongue for them. Now, what does this have to do with Hebrew? And I know that some folks might be like, bro, are you sure? Are you sure Hebrew is a tonal language? Because we've been taught to speak from a Western perspective. I'm quite sure. When I thought about that truth, about Eve, the language, Eve, one of the first words my brother taught me was Sowide. When I looked at that word the first time, I was like, so we day? So widey? So wide? I was like, that looked like so wide. He was like, no, bruh, so vide. So vide. And I said, wow, so the W, when you speak in Ebe, the W is really a V sound? He was like, yes, brother, yes. So vide. Eve. When I look at Yoruba language, Yoruba is based off of tones. So Ruba, each syllable of that one word even is different notes played. Okay. And when I realized that what we're talking about here are African languages, I then realized the truth and power of Afro-Shemitic language, Afro-Asiatic language, Nilo-Saharan language, Niger-Congo language, and I began to look at Bantu language. All of the languages of Africa have something in common, and that something is the rhythmicality and tonation of the words that are spoken. So when I looked at how the majority of languages are spoken in a certain way, non-monotonely, but spoken very tonally, they're spoken with music and rhythm, I began to say, dang, that's why we're the masters of rap. That's why we were able to create a totally new genre called rap and take the English language and make it something that the original speakers could have never contrived or even construed. Because let's face it, in the 80s and 90s, rap was crap. And I'm not talking about stuff that we're listening today that is clearly crap. I'm talking about the pure message of hip hop and the pure message of rap in its infancy and its youth and what it was used for when we were waking up, okay, as a people back in the 80s and 90s, and how that gift of music was weaponized against our people in order to now in 2023 have us lost in the sauce. But this isn't about rap in a sense. This is about taking language and figuring out what it is about the language that helps us communicate at deeper intervals. Because that, when you realize what the Hebrew language really is, you will understand fully that it is the holy tongue, the set apart tongue, and that it is the tongue or words or language used in creation. When you understand the power of that, then you understand why it said we were made in the image of the Most High. I took the liberty to do this on this board right here. Let's see. Okay. Anybody let me know, are these letters backward or can you read them the way that I had intended? Right here in the English, it should be from left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. Whereas you would read these in Hebrew from right to left. Can anybody answer that for me? Are these forward or are they backward? Because where I'm looking at them, the D is backward, okay, and everything is reversed. It's almost mirrored, which brings me to a point too about how when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we know that the right hand of the Most High is the righteous, the right side. The left side is usually reserved for the devil and Satan and the demons and all of that, all of them. But when you look in a mirror at yourself, especially being a left-handed person, I hold up my left hand, but my reflection is holding up the right hand. I used to write as a little boy from right to left, but I used to write from right to left in English, not knowing that I was a Hebrew Israelite. And most right-handed people, all right-handed people, write from left to right, never smudging the back of their hand with the ink or the lead of the pencil or pen that they're using to write with. But me as a left-handed person, I always had an issue with smudging my work. So I would cover my work with a piece of paper. I'd put a paper under my palm and then I'd write to keep myself smudging. So believe me when I say that I have a lot of experience writing and drawing and all of this sort of thing and getting my hands dirty, that's a true statement. But whenever I write from right to left, I don't have that issue. I found it funny that all of the Afro-Semitic languages are written from right to left, which made me then say, wow, the scribes must have been left-handed because anyone writing with their right hand from right to left would have the same issue I had as a left-handed person writing from left to right. So that gave me some sort of uh, solace. But what I did here was I wrote the letters because we need to have a deeper understanding of what these letters actually mean. These are the names or phonetic pronunciations of these pictographs. I hope you see them. These pictographs make up the ancient name of the Most High, and they make up the name of the Son. These are very important symbols in regards to how we are to intonate each of them and the deeper meaning behind the motivation or inspiration for the styling of these letters. I hope y'all are still with me. Before I touch on these letters, these pictographs, and before we touch on how they sound phonetically, the one thing that drove this study home for me when I woke up, and I didn't share that with you all yet, is that surrounding the thought of Hebrew being a tonal language was that all of a sudden I was laying down and all of a sudden Psalm 119 popped into my head. For any of you who are familiar with Psalm 119, you'll notice that all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are listed in Psalm 119. And I always wondered why. Why are these letters, these Hebrew phonetic, because the letters themselves were not in the King James Bible, but the phonetic sound of the letters was in the Bible. And anyone can go into their scriptures, their version, and you could go to Psalm 119. And in Psalm 119, you will find these letters. Now, the phonetic type of them. Now, I knew that sharing this lesson, I might want to touch on those letters from the Psalm 119 perspective. And we may do that. We may do that. Because once you understand the deeper meaning of the letter themselves, then there's going to be more mystery unveiled to you as to the importance, the under the surface, deeper importance of the letters themselves. One thing that I learned about Hebrew is that just like our rap, and I don't be liking to use this word entendre. I think it's a cliche word. It's almost played out now, but I'm going to use it. There are multiple entendres to the scriptures. There are so many layers to the scriptures that anyone who has ever written a rap before and have sought to use wordplay and have sought to use metaphor and simile, okay? Metaphor and simile are often mistaken for each other. But anyone who has ever written in a creative way and then written to a beat musically, melodically, can confirm that we seek to write where it's not only surface level, but it's also deeper. Like we like to go deep what it is talking about. And we like to provide uh, what I call listenability, the ability to say one thing and then give that piece of music uh, a quality that wants to make someone come back and listen to it again and listen for what they might have missed the first time. Okay, and that's what makes the scripture so heavy, is that you we can read the scriptures 1,000 times, and 1,000 times there's going to be something new learned from the scriptures. There's going to be something that's deeper that has been implied that will make you have to question what it is you thought you knew, what it is I thought I knew. And I don't take that for granted. And so when I looked at the book of Psalms in my mind, and I remember seeing all of those different letters being written as phonetic words to make up the different sections of the narrative of Psalm 119, I began to see the power in the language of Hebrew. Then I said to myself, or maybe the Spirit said to me, isn't it funny how those very letters are written not in the book of Proverbs, not this way, not in Revelation, not in Matthew, not in Mark, not in Kings, but written in the book of Psalms or songs, right? And it hit me. That was the confirmation that not only was this an African based language, Hebrew, which we should know by now, but why? Why is it African based? Why is Hebrew not European or Asian? Why is it African? Because it is tonal. And we know it's tonal now, this revelation, because each of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are listed in the very book that has to do with music. Did you hear me? I know that the connection is saying to be unstable, but did you hear me? Each letter of the Hebrew alphabet is associated with a different tone, amongst other things. The Most High's name, it's time for me to say it on this live stream, wouldn't you say? You speak the Most High's name based off of the understanding that has been given to me on January 2nd. Now, before I say this, y'all, it takes some type of nerve to get up here and say these things. That's why I had to say, I know the other names that are accepted right now through the camps, the Hebrew is camps, and different churches that aren't part of camps, but they have a perspective on the word that they have. I mean, I've been saying Yahuwah since 2015, or its counterpart Yahweh. Hosanna and shalom, my son, and family of the royal priesthood. Blessings, peace, and love. Grateful for this teaching and teacher. Mama Candace. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom to you. Thank you so much for joining this lesson today. And blessings to you and your household always, okay? And I thank you for joining this lesson. I don't know when you got in, but it's going to be available for folks to listen to it again. And hopefully the stream is coming through clearly for y'all, okay? But the Most High's name has so much deep meaning to it. Okay, and this is what we have to realize. When we speak monotonely, hey everybody, how you doing? And I hope everybody's doing well today. This is something that English language it celebrates. Whereas the languages of Africa, due to their rhythmic nature, might seem all over the place to the untrained ear, but in reality are very musically based. And when I realized that ancient Hebrew is a musical language, and that the people who are speaking Hebrew now, who claim to be us but who are not, they're speaking a form of language that is akin to English, that's when I knew, okay, adding that to the pot too, nah, nah, nah. We have to bring the rhythm back to everything that we do. We have to. We have to bring it back. When I talk like this and I'm like, we have to, they'll say I'm animated. They'll say I'm animated. They won't say the brother's recalling his genetic remembrance about language that was stolen from him, and then applying those tenets into a language that he had to adopt in order to survive in a system that was foreign to him. A language spoken which you will not understand. A nation will come from afar speaking a language which you nor your fathers know. So now we're here and we're speaking a language that we don't know but have mastered. But in mastering that language, the hope was that we forgot our own. And if we forget our own language, then we will forget the name of the one who called us to originally be set apart from the rest of the world. I hope y'all are hearing me. If we forget our language, we will be forgetting the very power that is within us. You see, I don't know if y'all know the meaning of Yisrael or Yasharal. I don't know if too many people know the meaning of that name. Okay? But let me tell you, the name given to Yaakov when he strove or overcame with El, okay? It literally means, I hope y'all are ready for this. I hope y'all are ready for this. He who rules with El, okay? That's what Israel means. Yisrael, Yashral, that means he who rules with El. So if we are children of Israel, that means we also rule with El. It is our namesake. That is why our forefather Jacob's name was changed as a remembrance of the fact that the promise has to deal with us ruling again with El. Ooh, it's so scary to think about. It's so nerve-wracking to think that the pauper, lowest on the totem pole, the one who has been oppressed, the one who has been ostracized, the one who has been deemed worthless, as long as that one is not on a plantation. If that one is on a plantation, then he is looked at and she is looked at as cattle, as a form of livestock lower than the livestock, to be used and abused. But when that one knows who he and she is, and knows and realizes that they are the true and living representation of the Most High on earth, and I could say that with all truth going out of me, guess what? Guess what? We got to take that language from him. Nope. We got to get his book to him to show him how we want him to speak the language. I always thought it was odd that when saying the name of the Most High, that's right, the name of the Most High is given to all of us through the ancient scriptures is Yad, not Yod or Yud, but Yad. So let's write Yad. Then the next letter was Hey. 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 Then the next letter was what we would call Wa in English, but it's Bab. And then the next and final letter was Hey. The answer has been right in front of our face the whole time. But when we read this combination of letters, westernized or Masoreticized or modern Hebrewized form, meaning the same people who replaced the true name over 6,839 times in order to hide the truth of the name from us, they were counting on us being in a complete and infinite and a forever stupor, to the point where the Ruach HaKodesh was disregarded as being able to guide the children of the Most High correctly into what it was we were supposed to understand in the day like today, before the final visitation of the Most High takes place. The scriptures tell us that there's no other name that we can be saved by that will do the salvation. And the scriptures also tell us that the truth must go to the four corners of the world before the end of this age come. Okay. Oh, see, we got a spammer. See, we got a spammer and a crammer and a nasty person. You know what? We're going to let them just do what they do for a moment. I'm not going to block them, because as soon as we start blocking people on the live, I learned in the algorithms that the YouTube algorithm, the computer associates that blockage with the whole feed needing to be blocked. Okay. So ignore this person or this bot, because if YouTube really cared, right, they would make sure nobody's live streams was attacked, right? So we know the game now. So let them go and devil be gone. Just like that. Devil be gone. Okay? Devil be gone. We not playing around. We don't care. Okay? You just gonna be gone. I find it so funny how the devil want to creep on and slither in when we start bringing out what we need to bring for this lesson. But devil, you going to be gone. And you going to mess with them other billion YouTubers if that's what it is. But you got the right one here. Uh-huh. Like brother Ray Charles would say, you got the right one, baby. But be gone. All right. Look at this, y'all. I'm gonna use my right hand so that we can really drive this point home. When we're talking about the ancient Hebrew, we have to first realize that these symbols equated a sound, and that sound phonetically spoken would would inhibit a certain thought based off of the sound that was being conveyed. In other words, the pictograph was a symbol of the sound that was supposed to be construed in the mind as a reminder that the symbol represented a higher form of thought. Mm. All praises to the Most High. You hear us? The name would have to include all four syllables because now we know that each syllable, which represents the pictograph, is actually a tone. This is where knowledge of the Yoruba language would come in, the Ebe language. This is where the knowledge of any language of Africa tonally spoken would come in handy because we have been lied to, made to believe that the Hebrew language is not African as well. We see the people who are in Israel now claiming to be us, they are not African people, they are German people. Their language of Yiddish, which has been passed as modern Hebrew today, is not the holy tongue. Now, yes, it will take some time to relearn. Me talking this language as of January 2nd from the perspective of the ancient Hebrew and how the name of the Most High is really said according to ancient Hebrew, it has even been new to me, especially before January 2nd. I've been speaking Yahuwah. That's the name I've been saying, even as of January 2nd. But I've been saying it in love, thinking that that is the name and how it's supposed to be spoken. Now, when you deal with music, all my musicians out here, fellow musicians, there's not a single note on that piano that is silent. Modern Hebrew speakers will tell you that there are silent letters. They will say that this ayin down here, which is represented by an eye, like a literal eyeball, excuse me, okay, this is an eyeball, which makes me think about the Cometians or the Egyptians and the all-seeing eye. I'm going to touch on that most high willing in a little while when we get to the actual meanings of these pictographs. But isn't it funny how this eye, which would be construed as the all-seeing eye today, called evil, is actually the ancient symbol written from our Hebraic perspective as far as the Hebrew language goes that was shared by not only the Israelites, but the Ishmaelites and all of the other Hebraic people of the time that this language was written and spoken. Remember, Israelite people are only one of the fruit out of the tree and branch of the Hebrew people of Eber. Okay, so you have to remember all of these different tenets and points if we're going to get the truth of the language. Okay, now see right here the yad, phonetically yad, yad, yad. This is pictographically. What is the yad? Well, the yad is an arm and a hand extended, an extended arm with an open hand, right? Now, if you look carefully at extended arm and open hand, it looks like this, right? It looks like a thumb up and a hand out. Now, that can be construed as a couple things, a few things. That hand in that shape can be construed as to receive, okay? Or can be construed as to give, to throw or toss, right? To form. Think about when you have clay in your hand and you're molding the clay. Or it could be to take or to cast, okay? Or to hand off. This is very important because this is one of the first descriptions that the Most High gave us as to who he was. That's why the name is so powerful, because when you go beyond the phonetic sound of the name and you get into the deeper meaning of the pictograph regarding the name, you get a definition of who the Most High is. And this is why we say, this is why the scriptures tell us what? There is power in the name. Okay? So, what is the name that was revealed to me based off of the intonation of the letters as well as how to speak it? Yad he vav he, yad he vav he, yad he ba ye, yad he ba ye, yad he ba ye. When you begin to say it rhythmically, forming a compound word with each of the syllables that are based off the phonetic, the pictograph, you see the name in whole. Yad he ba ye, yad he ba he, yad he ba he. Are you hearing the tone? Are you hearing the note, the inflection of each sound? This is why it's so important not to disregard your ancestry and your past and to not move with bias or hatred toward a certain group of people, because you will do what we like to call in the Christian church blocking your blessing. Everybody mama then said, hey boy, hey daughter, you better be careful because you're going to block your blessing. At least in our community, in this country, we say don't block your blessing. Don't block it. And the first way to block a blessing is to be a player hater. And when you a player hater, you hating the player. Okay. We say don't hate the player, hate the game. But even when you begin to hate the game, you begin to hate the rules of the game. And when you hate the rules of the game, I hate to use that word the game because we just did a lesson on them Gentile folks treating slavery as a game. And I just had a whole different taste in my mouth when I read that article about how they looked at slavery as a game to them. All of the pain, all of the trouble, all of the strife, all of the rape, all of the lynching, all of the castration, all of the hatred toward a people. It was looked at as a game. And when these people were tired of the game, they retired very wealthy. And it's not the monetary wealth that gets me, but it's the wealth of the souls that they snatched and destroyed. That's what gets me the most. That's what gets me the most. And so when I think about the game, I have a totally different feel in my psyche about that now. But yad he ba he, yad he ba ye, yad he ba ye. When we say Yahuwah, the first thing that hits me is we drop the D, which is correct when we do a compound word in Hebrew. But however, he is not who. He is he. Just like you say, hey, partner. He is he. Okay. The next thing I noticed about Yahuwah is that we're missing the final he. He is an actual syllable, it's an actual note that needs to be played. The lie is that this final hey is silent. And that's what throws us off from recognizing the true power of the name. Okay. So, what does a yod symbolize? God symbolizes an outstretched arm with an open hand. That hand is receiving. It could be a work, okay? It could be to throw, to cast away. It could be to form or to take hold of. It's the context, though. And when it is compounded, not confounded, but compounded with all of these syllables or these notes together, you have a beautiful harmony. You have a beautiful melody. Okay. Yad he ba ye. And instead of this final note, this final H, hey, being silent like it is in Yahweh or in Yahweh or in Yehovah or in all of these different forms, we're missing something. And that is one of the greater realizations of January 2nd of this year that I was blessed with, that came to me by way of the Ruach HaKodesh, is that now we're speaking rhythmically. and we're speaking with the intonation of a language that is alive. See, in Africa, one thing that my Yoruba cousins taught me is that Yoruba is such a special language. If you've ever listened to Yoruba, first of all, Yoruba is considered to be Africa's love language. Okay, language of love. If you ever listen to Yoruba, the first thing when I listened to Yoruba closely, it felt like I was listening to a language while still in my mother's womb. That's what Yoruba sounded like to me. It sounded like a language I knew but couldn't quite make sense of because I was still in the womb. And all I had to do was be birthed to understand what was going on. That's the best way I could explain Yoruba. Now, it's called Africa's love language because of the music and the melody that is conveyed through each syllable spoken. Okay? Mama Candace. He is giving us back our heritage, our language. They have changed letters, sounds, biblical names. It's in our DNA. Encoded. He said, if my people who are called by my name, oh my goodness, will just turn their face. Most didn't know his name. Ooh, come on. Come on, mama. That's exactly right. Now we are starting to learn the name again. And if we know the Father's name, then we can learn the Son's name. If we continue to call the Father Yahweh, that's only two syllables. Even though they tell us the truth about the YHWH, they lie to us by disregarding the other two syllables of the name. When we say Yahuwah, we are getting closer to the name because we call ourselves using all four of the YHWH letters, but we are still disregarding the final syllable. It's only when we go back to the pictograph and we realize Yah, He, Vav, He. This is not pronounced like a westernized thought. When we see WAW, we think in the West, wah, 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 wah. Welcome to the Wild Wild West. We think about wah. But in ancient Hebraic thought, just like modern Yoruba, modern Ebe, that W is actually a V sound. My last name in English is Vaughn. I always wondered why, when you get to Psalm 119, okay, Yah, hey, this is the fifth letter. When you get to the sixth letter, let me write that real quick. What actual number this letter is. When you get to the sixth letter, which is Va, Vav, it's very interesting because they wrote it VAU, just like my last name, Vaughn. Y'all give me one moment as I write these letters. We're just going to focus on these right now, the top three. This is the 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Yad. The He is the fifth letter. The Vav, which we mispronounce as Wa, is the sixth letter. So when I first learned the name Yahuwah, I was like, oh, that has to be the name because I'm thinking from an English perspective. I'm still blind. I have a zeal about me and I have an excitement that says I have to learn this name because I want to be saved. I want to be considered for salvation. And if there's no other name under the sun that will cause us to inherit that salvation, then why would I play with a name that doesn't fit, that doesn't go, that's inappropriate? Yahweh, Yahweh. That's how you would say the name. Now, what does each letter of Yah, He, Vav, He actually mean? We just talked about the extended arm in the hand, meaning to receive, to work, to make, to form, to take, to cast, to give. What about the He? The He pictograph is a symbol of a man with his arms up giving praise. Okay? He means to give praise or be in reverence or submission. Okay? Give praise to the Most High. It also means reveal, breath, to look, like to revere something, to be in awe of something, to look up, and to recognize something greater than yourself. Same way we say, hey, hey, Jordy boy, animals do not crossbreed in the wild. Okay, thank you for that. I agree. I agree. It's an abomination. It's a genetic abomination. I agree with that. A donkey and horse not supposed to mate. Now, what does that have to do, if you don't mind, with the lesson, Jordy boy? Leave that in the comment and maybe I'll address it if it got something else to do with the lesson. Thank you for that fun fact. Hey means raised arms in reverence, submission, praise to the Most High. Then we see the Va. Now, the Va symbol is a peg or a stake, like a post. Okay. But what does that post symbolize? What happens when you hammer a nail or a peg into the ground to hitch up your tent? What happens? You're securing, okay? You're holding in place, okay? You're hooking something in so that it doesn't move, okay? Now, here we have the sheen. And I know you're like, wait a second, what does this letter have to do with anything? What is this sheen? Well, this sheen, what does that look like? To me, it looks like almost like one of our noses, in the so-called black community. But then also, it's not a nose though. It's teeth. And when you look at these teeth, it look like two front buck teeth, don't it? Like two front buck teeth. Now in modern Hebrew, they took this symbol and they made the sheen to look like this. They made it to look like sawtooth. And I thought that that was very interesting. It says a lot about them. They went from our original pictograph of a more fat-toothed herbivore look, like when we smile, we have more rounded teeth, to this pointy, sharp, nasty-looking thing that could really hurt somebody. More like a carnivore, more like a serpent, a snake, versus the teeth of one who is an herbivore or an omnivore, at the very least. Now, these are two front teeth. Now, the sheen comes into play because the sheen is in the sun's name. Okay. So that's why you see the sheen here. What is the sheen? Two front teeth. Now, modern Hebrew speakers will say sharp teeth. But our ancestors didn't consider the sheen to be sharp at all, but well rounded. Whoo! Are you seeing this? Well rounded. Or to press down on, to eat. Okay. And you see two front teeth which were eventually drawn to the sharp. And I have a theory about why it was changed. I believe it was changed to, how the spirit will witness. The spirit will witness of an individual. Excuse me, I'm getting excited. The spirit will witness an individual and will reveal what that individual's intentions are through what their predispositions are at any given time. For this image to be rounded and soft in appearance, to be changed by those who are not who they say they are into this symbol, which is very sharp and jagged, it goes to show that they are willing to eat up something, eat up a native, eat up a form of truth, and deal with it in a way where they are willing to defend it with what they say tooth and nail, right? Meaning they will attack if that thing is compromised based off of how like others to receive of it. Okay. This is why I'm not going to worry much about the modern sheen. outside of y'all looking and saying, well, brother, I don't see that symbol. I don't see this symbol no more. I see what you just drew, though. Let's focus on the original Paleo Hebrew. Then we have the ayin. Ayin is the last and final letter in the name of the sun. Okay? And it is pictographically described and illustrated as an eye. Now, the ayin, it means to watch, to know, okay? Or to shade in some cases. Now, I know what you mean to shade. Well, hey, you ever heard that term in the hood? Man, bro over there looking real shady. Bro over there looking like he up to something. Bro look like he got something on his mind, right? The eye can also mean shade. But more importantly, this I stands for inner knowledge. Okay. To make your eye single comes to mind because this is a single eye, and that's a direct quote from the one whose name includes the ayin in it. Now, what's the name of the sun? I know y'all have been wondering what's the name of the sun? Well, the name of the Father would be included in the name of the Son. So if the name of the Father is Yad-He-Ba-Ye, then the name of the Son would be Yah-He-Va, and then add the Sheen and the Ayin. Yad-He-Va-Sha. Yad-He-Va-Sha. Yah-He-Va-Sha. The Sheen produces the sh sound, and the ayin produces the sound without the yin on it because it's compound. Now, what would all of these symbols mean when spoken? And before we do that, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. And let's get Matthew chapter 6. Let's go Matthew chapter 6 first. Matthew chapter 6, verse 22. Matthew chapter 6, verse 22. All right, check this out. Remember, the ayin, it's a symbol. Today it will be considered to be an all-seeing eye. And folks in the Hebrew community would run from this and say it's devilish and demonic. This is the ancient pictograph for this letter phonetically spoken as ayin. This is what it looks like in ancient times, so this is what we're going to focus on. Now, that's an eye, and it stands for inner standing. It stands for inner knowledge. It stands for that famous word and quote that the Son, Yahweh spoke in Matthew chapter 6, verse 22, excuse me, where we read. Let's start at verse 21. For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. Y'all remember that? For where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. The lamp of the body. I love this quote. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. Let's say that again. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. But if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? I know some of y'all like, bruh, how is light great darkness? Well, you have to remember what light means from a Hebraic standpoint. Whoa, whoa. I just seen a book, a sign on one of my books. Wow, 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 wow. Let me show y'all this book. I might as well. Hey, Queen Sister, thank you for joining. I might as well. Look at this book, y'all. This is one of my favorite books by Mark Booth, The Secret History of the World. And look at the cover. It's an all-seeing eye. It's a single eye, and it has ray of light beams coming from it. because the eye is the lamp. I want to really drill this home real quick. What Yah Yahebasha, who we ignorantly call Jesus, is saying. Check this out. The lamp of the body is the eye. What is a lamp? A lot of people, yeah, all right now, all right now, check this out. A lot of people misconstrue this, and they think that the the eye is the actual light. All right? It's a lamp. Now, ain't a lamp a light, bruh? No, 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 no. The lamp is what the light goes inside. Okay? I did this last week, and I'll get it again. Look at this lamp. Okay? This is a lamp. This is a lamp. Are y'all with me? The actual device is a lamp. But the light is inside of it. Okay? Okay? This is a lamp, but it's the light that's inside of it. Now, the sister said that the eye is a mind. And there's a lot of truth to that statement. As a matter of fact, we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22 to drive home, because that's where I'm going with this. Now, when we realize that if our eye is to do good, all your body shall be enlightened. That means that, first of all, we have to have a singular eye, just like the ayin is a singular eye. You see, Yahweh, who I would have called Yahushua last week, has an ayin at the end of his name for a reason. Because our eye is called to be singular. Now, what does that mean? Think about the eye of the tiger real quick. When you have an eye of the tiger, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening with the eye of the tiger? That's a different way to say you have an extreme level of focus and you will let nothing deter you on your way to setting your goal. All right. When one eyes, you heard wandering eyes too, right? Wandering eyes keep us from our purpose. Would you agree? Now, wandering eyes, I know in modern society has a lot to do with the woman accusing her man of looking at another woman and not really being focused on her. And even then, the foundational inspiration behind her saying, "Hey, stop with the wandering eyes," is that he's looking around at whatever he feel he could get at, right? But having a singular eye keeps us in our purpose, extremely focused. And that's where the eye of the tiger metaphor comes from. When the tiger is looking at its prey, there's absolutely nothing that's going to deter or stop the tiger from. The tiger crouches low and it's going to stay looking at that prey until it's time to go. Okay? So that's where the eye of the tiger comes from. But what is Yahshua or Yahebasha talking about with the lamp of the body is the eye? Well, the eye is what we also call the window to the soul. It is a receptacle of light. Okay? But it's also a receptacle of influence. Okay? That's why if our eye is to do evil, and our minds have the inclination to want to chase after that thing that is not becoming our walk, our calling, and that thing is construed as being wicked and evil. We know the difference and is able to discern between good and bad, wicked and evil, and we are able to discern these things. If our eye is evil, all of our body, not the physical body, the inner soul, the spiritual aspect of who we are, because remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. Okay. This is just a vessel. This is my vehicle. This is my car. This is my truck, whatever you want to call it. This is my boat. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream of life. The boat is the body. Merrily, merrily, merrily now. Because if you do it angrily, 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 you're going to be living a nightmare. You're not going to be living a dream. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Why? Because life is but a dream. Whose dream? The one whose conscious we are experiencing within. Ooh, wee. Did you ever think for one moment that those vibrations that the Most High spoke were vibrations within Himself? And that those vibrations emanated so deeply and so strong with so much intent that poof, 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 everything that was thought about was manifested. No different than in the dream state. How many of you have gone to sleep before with an idea that you wanted to dream about, and then you dreamt about that thing? Most of us would do that as children. We would go to sleep dreaming about what it was we wanted to dream about, and then we would actually dream of that thing. A lot of us, if we sleep wanting to know or wanting to fly, we would go to sleep and fly. We would fly. We would literally be in the sky flying. If we wanted to race fast cars, we would race fast cars. It wasn't until our minds began to get conditioned with weaponized imagery throughout the day that began to cause us to have night terrors or nightmares or things that would move us away from what we would find solace and peace in while we dreamt. This is why if our eye is quick to do evil, if our mind is quick to do evil, our whole consciousness will be affected by that evil. How do we know this? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22 real quick. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. Let's get it. Because this is part of a horrible condition that so many of us face. But Yahweh, who I would have called Yahushua, is telling us something in his name. Check this out. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. For my people are foolish. They have not known me. They are stupid children. What? What? That's the Most High talking. Let's hear it again. For my people are foolish. Mm-mm-mm. They are, excuse me. For my people are foolish. I just want to say they are stupid children again. For my people are foolish. They have not known me. They are stupid children, and they have no understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. Okay? Wow. That very next verse says, I looked at the earth and saw it was formless and empty, and the heavens, they had no light. I looked at the mountains and saw they shook, and all hills were swaying. I looked and saw there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens had fled. I looked and saw the garden land was a wilderness, and all its cities were broken down at the presence of Yahweh by his burning displeasure. So if y'all are just now joining this live stream, we've been talking about the true name, Yahweh, the true name of the Most High. And I'm still getting used to it myself. I'm still getting used to it myself. Okay? Because this revelation just came to me. But the point is, we have to be able to work this mystery out. We have to be able to get to the bottom of this. Now, we see that the mind that is quick to do evil and the eye that is quick to search and look after evil will cause the body to be in utter darkness. We see that the mind that is quick to do good and the eye that searches out of goodness for goodness sake, the Most High sake, will be filled with light and goodness. The light of darkness that Yahweh was talking about is that mind that's quick to be wise to do evil. You know, we have people out here every day who are contriving up schemes in order to commit wickedness and continue the vibe of wickedness all throughout the land. Yeah, imagine, right? Whereas we also have people who are on the other side of the fence who are working day in and day out to figure out a way to steer society in a more righteous manner. Okay? That's why there's always a clash between good and evil. What is the overall message of the name of the Father trying to convey to us? After I began putting together the different meanings, and I'm just going back to Psalm 119, y'all, and y'all are welcome to read along with me at Psalm 119. The whole scriptures, y'all are welcome to read along with me. You know the deal. I began to look at the picture. The picture. Now, all of these pictographs right here will eventually spell the Son's name. It is these three that is used to spell the name of the Father. So let's begin with the Father first. When you have Yad, He, Vav, He, what's being conveyed in an English sentence? Well, this is something that I got, and I want y'all to, you know, do your due diligence. And if you find an interpretation that is different than mine that still fits the syllabalization and still fits the pictograph in its original form, feel free to holler at me, reach out to me. Now, this last syllable has been construed as being silent. And I used a metaphor earlier saying that we don't have any pianos with a silent key. Whether it's a white key or black key, that piano is utilized to play. Now, the only way a syllable could be silent is one, if the hearer isn't listening closely enough, but two, because we're talking about melody. Each one of these, each one of these symbols phonetically, excuse me, y'all, I'm writing with my right hand, phonetically represents a note on the music scale. Each one of them represents a note. Okay? And these notes are to be struck. I chose not to use the word play. Chose to be or plucked or pulled or strummed. And the only way one of these syllables could be lost is if it is lost in what? Harmony. Hidden in the chord that has been struck. You know, if I play a B minor chord to a person who only knows what the sound is supposed to sound like, not even knowing the name of the chord, they won't know what note is in that chord. They just know it sounds full. It's harmonistic. One way I teach dealing with chords is not a music theory course, but in kind of it is. But you pick out to the person who wants to learn how to play piano. I know you're out there. Go sit down at a piano. You won't never have to play ever in your life. But I'm going to teach you how to play your first chord and make it sound great. Any key you want to. And look at each key as a friend to the other keys. Okay? They're all in the schoolyard. And everyone has the potential to play together. This is why we say we're playing the piano. Right? So each key is a child, or each key is a person at a university, however you want to look at it, and they all can play together. But some of them don't play so kindly with others. So what you have to do, any key, this will work on. Pick one key and play it. And press down on it. Done. Then what you want to do is find another key. Don't leave that first key. Find another key that's a different key that sounds good with the first key that you played. Okay? Now you have two keys that are playing at the same time that sound in harmony with one another. They're not even having to be close by one another, but they sound like they would play well together. Then you take another key, different than the first two, and you find that key that sounds good with the first two and play that. Congratulations. You have just played a chord. And the more keys you add to that chord that sound great with the ones that came before it, the more complex your chord will sound. And if you continue to find chords that you can play using that pattern and you remember what you play, eventually you will be playing a song. The melody is found within the note of the chord. Okay? The melody dun 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 dun. That can be a chord as well, played all together. Dun. Took dun, and I made dun 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 dun. Oh man, hey, that's funny. I might have to make that beat just on some more funny stuff. Dun 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 dun. Somebody take a little screenshot and do the dun dun dun. I'm just messing with y'all. Each one of these syllables is a note. Okay. This is what Psalm 19 is conveying to us. This is why the Hebrew alphabet is in the book of songs called Psalms. I never understood it until January 2nd of this year. It just hit me. That is why all of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are in the book of Psalms, because each letter is a key of music that is to be played phonetically. This is another reason the name was stolen and hidden away. How many of you have heard or are familiar with harmonics or harmonic resonance? How many of y'all are familiar with harmonic resonance? Harmonic resonance is a technology that our ancestors used to move very heavy and weighty objects with the force of sound. Harmonic resonance is what the Most High used to speak us into existence, to speak the elements, to speak the minerals, to speak the essence of life into existence. That came forth through harmonic resonance. And you want to know something? I guarantee you, with further study, each one of the letters will register on a certain frequency. And if spoken masterfully, we will be able to move literal mountains. This is why, if we spoke with faith, like Yahweh told us to speak, we would be able to move mountains. Mountains would literally crumble at our voice. Keys that are in harmony, not disharmony in life, and build. Life is music, huh? Yes, ma'am. And you want to know something though? I know you're a musician. I know you're a musician. You're familiar with dissonance, right? Dissonance is primarily found in orchestra, okay, where we hear symphonic music played and it's beautiful, and all of a sudden it's so beautiful you might be nodding off in your chair, and then the orchestra plays a chord or a series of notes that seem dissonant, and it wakes you up. You're like, dang, what was that? Why did it go ugly all of a sudden? It was just beautiful. Dissonance adds a flavor to life that some of us don't understand and don't seek. Dissonance can be a healthy thing in healthy quantities, okay? In healthy quantities. So we have to be cognizant of dissonance place. If dissonance wasn't valuable, every single note on the piano would play in harmony no matter what note you struck. But there has to be a form of dissonance to understand the value of the harmony. And when we understand the value of dissonance, both of them mean something special. Okay? What sentence? What is the Most High trying to convey to us in His name? Yahweh, Yahweh. What is that name? See, listen to the notes. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Now, when you say that and you back at home, just flowing. Now it's sounding like how it's supposed to. But when you're saying Yahweh, when you're saying Yahuwah, there's no intonation. It's monotone. And they told us this on purpose to keep us away from the truth and the power of the name. Yahebasha, Yahebasha, Yahebasha. That's who we call Yahushua. We were so close. We were so close. Yahebasha, Yahebahe. The Father, Yahebahe. The Son, Yahebasha. The names are in each other. But what are the meanings when you look at the pictograph? What is actually being conveyed? Because that's how deep Hebrew goes. It's better than English. It's better than all this other stuff that was put on us. Yeah, our rappers, our singers. You know, I'm a rapper. You know, I'm a singer. You know, I know about poetry. You know this, man. I just had to shout out Chris Tucker one time. You know this, though. But the truth of the matter is, English is only a living language because the enemy has forced us to speak it. And they cram it on our throats. While Hebrew, Ebed, is the true living language. Okay? It's the true living language. It's the holy tongue. It is the set apart tongue. It is the tongue where all power can be conveyed. It is the tongue of creation. Yeah, we got to put some rhythm on the name. And that's where I know you just joined in. I hope you get a chance to watch this live stream from the top. This is why I brought up the Ebe language, the Yoruba language, Ede Yoruba. Because when we talk Ede Yoruba, Bawoni, we are saying the tones of music in the language. Okay? That's why our languages back in Africa are so important for us to study as Hebrew Israelites who have been lost to our languages in the Americas, even in the UK. Wherever we have been enslaved, wherever we have been transferred, we are speaking a tongue that is in total antithesis of the righteous tongue. This is why English is dominated by right handed people. The Most High is right handed, but we are the Most High's reflection. We, if we are scribes and writers, should be writing left handed because the Hebrew language does not work like English from left to right. The Hebrew language works from right to left. That's why I know something was special when the Most High created me to be left handed. I was back at home and I was a scribe. You see, I'm a writer. I write. Look, I write. This is my book. Not, I'm not selling. I'm not selling. It's the Shabbat. Do not buy this book today. Do not buy this book today. It's the Shabbat. I'm saying I'm a writer, but I had to write this with my left hand. Okay? Going from left to right. And whenever I write, I always smudge everything. Everything gets smudged because I'm writing English. Now, if I was writing Hebrew from right to left, oh, I'm in business now. But you want to know something that's funny? I'm going to keep on saying this. When I hold my left hand up to the mirror, the reflection, oh, Suki, you left handed. So that means you what? In your right mind. When I hold my left hand up in the mirror, it is the right hand of my reflection that is being held up. This is why we know there's something special about the Most High's right hand. The Most High's right ruling hand. The Most High has dedicated the right hand to righteousness. The left hand is used for the devil, the demons, and all of those wicked things that the Most High had to create in order to fulfill his desire and will. The Most High creates both evil and good. We mustn't forget that. We hope to be sitting on the right hand side, though, right? So, look, even though I'm left handed, I want to be on the right hand side of the Most High. But when I look in the mirror at my reflection, it is the right hand that is being held up as I hold up my left hand to the mirror. Very beautiful. Let's get into what this means. We're going to break it down in English, though. So there can be a few different meanings, but we want to be concise as possible. Yah The first letter that the Most High gave to us. What does it mean? Well, when you look at it, the first thing I could think about, the first thing that hits my mind, what did the Most High do to us? The Most High created us. The Most High gave Torah. The Most High wrote Torah with its finger and then gave that word over to Moshe for the children of Israel. Okay? Now listen at this. Listen at this. Yah means arm and hand open to receive or to give, to work, to cast away, to throw, to hand off. This looks like a hand that is being extended to give something. So the very first thing that we can think about is creation to give something. Okay? Now, hey, this is a man with his arms raised in reverence to whatever it was that he was in reverence to. This is the Most High's way of saying, be in reverence to what it is I am giving to you. What did the Most High give to us? Torah. The Most High also gave us the Ruach HaKodesh, meaning the eternal breath, the set apart breath of life. I am giving to you the Torah, the Ruach, and you must be in reverence to that. That is the first two letters, Yah, Hey. That's one of the secrets of the Most High's name. The first two letters. I give you something for you to be in reverence to. We got it? Now, we have to go to the Vav. The Vav. The Vav is a peg or a stake, like a camping tool. A stake in the ground, right? Ooh, that's heavy, because we were made from the dust of the earth. So Vav is the stake in us that secures us as we give reverence back up to the Most High for the word or Torah that was given to us as stewards and reflections and children of the Most High. Then the Most High follows that Vav, the stake or hook. We are to be hooked in or secured in the praise and reverence of the Most High who gave us the Torah. I hope y'all are following, because this is the revelation that came to me January 2nd. It is deeper than just saying, y'all have yet. We have to know why we are saying this. And the power behind the Hebrew word and the Hebrew language is that not only does a word mean something, but the letters that comprise the word also have deeper meaning too. So if we have something given to us, Torah, and we are to be in reverence to the one who gave it to us, and then we are to be secured in that Torah, hooked into that Torah, then we go back to the hey again, which is to be thankful that we are hooked in to the reverence of the Most High giving us Torah, speaking the life of breath to us, the breath of life, excuse me, to us. And the breath of life is Torah, the law. Okay? Woo! That's that part. Yahweh, that's the Father. Now, what did the Son come to do? What is the Son's name so important? Why salvation can only be found in the Son's name. Check this out. Now we get to the Sheen. Okay? Now we get to the Sheen. I want you to open up your Bibles, please. Because we're going to now get to the bottom of what number is the Sheen and what number is Ayin. This is an opportunity for you to go through the thinking process with me instead of just maybe sitting down and just letting yourself be fed. All right, let's get to it. Psalm 119. I'm going to show you how to break this down. Okay, it's getting hot in here, y'all. We start with Aleph. That's one. Bet. That's two. Side note, you see where the Greeks got alphabet from? Aleph Bet is where they got alphabet from. Aleph is what? And they say in Greek, alpha and beta, right? And now today you got Monday man and woman talking about I'm an alpha male, or he's a beta male, or the sister saying, oh, I want an alpha male, or she want a beta male.
maybe that's a whole nother conversation because I'm not finna get into that part right now. But Aleph Bet. Shit, we get into that. Nope, nope. Another lesson. That'll be another language lesson later on. Okay, Most High willing. Okay, let's just count. Let's count because that's the point I asked you all to go to Psalm 119. Breath, yes, Ka. Aleph. Aleph is 1. Bet is 2. Gimel is 3. Dalet is 4. He, 5. Okay. Bav, 6. Okay, let's keep going. Zayin, 7. Het is 8. Tet is 9. Yod is 10. Okay. Kaf is 11. Lamed is 12. Mem is 13. Nun is 14. Samek is 15. Keep going, y'all. Ayin. Oh, there's Ayin. Ayin is 16. Excuse me, y'all. That's my right hand. Don't laugh at me. Ayin is 16. Okay. Pwe, think about it. For any of you who know Yoruba, this is another proof that we're making an Afro-Semitic or African-based language. This isn't pay like this. Pay, pay. To say the letter P in Yoruba is pwe, pwe. It's pwe. It's pwe. It's a some stank on it. Pwe, pwe. It's like you saying PWE. Pwe. It's not pay. Pay, pay. Pay, pay. Pay, pay, pay. No, it's pwe. So, Ayin is 16. Pwe, 17. Sadi is 18. Kof is 19. Resh is what? 20. Shin is 21. Okay. Tov is 22. Did I miss one? Hold on, y'all. Maybe I missed one. Did I miss one? Counting. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's 22. All right. So, Sheen is 21. So, what's up with Sheen and Ayin? Well, remember, Sheen in modern day Hebrew looks like two sharp, nasty looking teeth, where in our ancient pictographs, Sheen has well rounded two front teeth. Not sharp, not like a vampire, but like a human, well rounded, omnivorous, like, you feel me? Or herbivore, omnivore. Mm, it's still rounded teeth. They're not no vampire teeth. Okay? Now, Sheen means to press, to eat. Two front teeth, eventually drawn sharp, which I'm going to avoid that sharp illustration. But to eat, to eat. Now, what was Yahweh Shah, what was he known for? He was known for making nothing out of something or something out of very little. Okay? He's also known as what? The what of life is he known as? The what of life. What is he known as? The what of life. What do you eat in a sandwich? How do you make a sandwich? You cannot have a sandwich if you don't have this one ingredient. Bread. He is the bread of life. Man shall not eat by bread alone. A man shall not eat bread alone, but by the word. Bread. Very good. Bread. So when we eat, the sheen means to eat. To eat what? The bread. And why is sheen the letter that makes up Yahweh's name? Because he is what we are to consume spiritually. Meaning, and I suppose when we consume wisdom and knowledge and convert it into wisdom, it's no different than food being converted into energy. Woo! Food is converted into energy. This is perhaps why the scriptures say chew the meat and spit out the bones, or we say chew the meat, spit out the bones, but the scripture tells us to be like babies again. We should have been teachers by now, but due to our own insolence and ignorance, we have to go back to drinking the milk. Then, as we mature in the truth, we began eating the more meatier aspects of the truth. But you notice that milk and meat, bread is like in the middle of milk and meat. You can give a child with has one tooth or two teeth some bread, and it could get soggy enough to be swallowed and digested, versus a hard piece of chicken, a rough piece of beef, right? The bread is what is to be eaten. Okay? This is why we have the teeth in Yahweh's name. Then ayin, it means to watch. Bread is the word. And who is the word? Yahweh. Who is the word? The word made flesh. The one that the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The word made flesh, and that is the bread of life. Very good. So if now we are on ayin, the final letter of his name, which means to watch with a singular eye, not to be confounded, not to be led astray, but to watch with the focus of a lion on its prey. Ooh, that was a bar. Ooh, okay. Thank you, Mosai. That was a bar. Watch, okay. Attain inner knowledge. Make your eyes single. That's why it's one eye. Oh, excuse me, y'all. That's why the symbol is one eye. Okay? It's one eye. Because we must make our eyes single as we watch the bread of life, the example set before us through the bread of life. Okay? Now, when we put all of this together, to give, right? But when it comes to Yahweh Basha, it is to receive. Because now, instead of the hand being outreach to give us the word, now the hand is in an outreach for us to take of the word. Okay, for us to reach into the bread basket and to take the bread of life into ourselves for proper and sound digestion. I hope y'all getting this. Ooh, this is powerful here, y'all. All praises to the Most High. This is truly powerful. I'm remember, this revelation came to me on the 2nd of this month. And I didn't speak about it sooner because I had to work it out. I had to figure it out as well, you know? And speaking about it out loud like this is helping it all come home and helping me to really understand the nuances of this word, okay? Now, the hey, we're still in reference because now we're thankful to the Father that we have received of the Son, that we were considered to receive of the Son, that we were considered so much that we would be able to receive the gift of the Son, the Word, the living Word and testimony, so that we can move forward in truth and give reverence back up to the Father. So you see why their name is interposed with one another. But except this time again, where we are being given something, now we must receive. Okay? But we must receive with reverence and submission. Now, this reverence has not only turned into reverence, but also into submission. Because the only way we could receive of something that we had not before we received it is to be in submission to it to actually receive it. Humility. That's what submission is all about. Humility. Okay? Now we go back to the Vav. The Vav is to once again be secured. Now, we talked about alpha men, right? One thing an alpha man is very secure. Okay, very secure. Even if it's something new that has not been experienced, that actually it motivates and inspires an alpha man to go into places that haven't been explored before, but not with stupidity. Retaining what has been received in all humility in order to go places that one has not been, to use the lessons, to utilize what has been given in submission, in all reverence, in all humility, to achieve something that has not been achieved before. That is exactly what Hamashiach did. And that is why we must eat of those fruits, those actions, because that's what Sheen is, right? The bread of life, to eat of it, and then what? To observe and to keep the eye singular, to bring all of this back home, to drive the point home. The valve is going to secure us, but we still have to be wanting to be secured. Okay? We have to want to move in the way of the calling. That is the name of the meaning of both of those names. You see how deep it goes? And of course, I don't have to be the only one extrapolating this. I don't have to be. I don't. Each one of us has an opportunity to dig deeper in this truth and to bring out what it is we need to bring out on behalf of the kingdom of the Most High. Okay? But when I look and I got that eye and I'm looking, I'm like, boy, I better make that a singular eye. Meaning, I better stay focused on the call. What time, if not ever, should we be focused on the call, if not now? Everyone who's led to this channel, I feel, even who is that? Who is that dude? Jordy Boy. Shout out to Jordy Boy, because he dropped a random fun fact on us. Animals do not crossbred in the wild. I know he meant crossbreed, but it's funny we talking about bread now. And we're not talking about real bread either. I mean, except for the example that I used, we talking about the bread of life. So when we think about what our calling is, family, first of all, we give all praise to the Most High. Because without the blessing of this breath, we wouldn't be where we be. One thing I wanted to do before we wrap up this lesson is to actually read the letters of Proverb 119 that we see right here. So we have to go to the Yod. Let's go to Yod first. And let's see what the word is reflecting to us in Yod. So remember, that's the 10th letter. That would be verse 73 in Psalm 119, okay? Let's get it. Yod. Now it's going to say Yod in your Bible, but it's Yod. That's the ancient Hebrew, Yod. Your hands have made and formed me. Oh, my word. Oh, wow, something just hit me. We're going to have to prove this together, y'all. But is the definition of the letter in these scriptures? Because we just read that Yod means to form. The Yod means to create. The Yod means to give, to receive, to cast. Yah, Yah, come on. Let's see. Your hands have made me and formed me. Make me understand that I might learn your commands. Oh, it's bars. Make me understand that I might learn your commands. Hey, that's a bar. Who want to get on it? So look, your hands have made me and formed me. Make me understand that I might learn your commands. Those who fear you see me and rejoice. For I have waited for your word. See, that's the word talking about right there. Got to be. I know some of your Bibles will say Lord. Mine has the tetragrammaton. So I'm going to say the name as it's been revealed to us. Yahebaye, I know, O Yahebaye, that your right rulings are righteous, and in trustworthiness you have afflicted me. Please, your loving command, that your right rulings are righteous, and in trustworthiness you have afflicted me. Please, your loving commitment be my comfort, be for my comfort, according to your word to your servant. Ah, yes. Like I made a joke earlier, y'all. I said the Most High asked me to come on down here. I was like, do I really gotta go? Do I really gotta go? He said, yeah, man, you really gotta go. You need it down there. You got to go. You got to do this work now because my visitation is coming, and I got some children down there that hard-headed stiff neck, and they don't need to hear from you, brother. They need your son. Go on down there. I said, okay, listen. All right. If I go down there, you don't got to make me the richest man on earth, like with money and all of that. You don't got to put me in the cleanest cars. You don't got to put me in the cleanest clothes. You don't got to put me in Beverly Hills, no place. You don't got to put me in no big old mansion. You could drop in the middle of the hood like he did. And all I ask is that you make me your child down there on earth and make and keep me a Hebrew Israelite. That's all I ask. We'll work everything else out, Father. Just please make me a Hebrew Israelite. All right, son. See ya. See ya. To give and to receive. That's right. And it's a blessing to be able to do both. It really is. We have to learn how to be able to receive as well as to give, right? It's hard sometimes, though. It's hard sometimes. So look, please let your loving commitment be for my comfort, according to your word to your servant. Let your passions come to me, that I might live. For your Torah is my delight. Let the proud be put to shame, for with lies they perverted me. But I study your orders. Let those who fear you turn to me, and those who know your witnesses. Oh, let those who fear you turn to me, and those who know your witnesses. Let my heart be perfect in your laws. Oh, yes, please, Most High, so that I am not put to shame. That's a beautiful prayer. So that was Yod. Now let's go to Hey. Number 5. Letter number 5. Teach me with raised arm. When you ask somebody to teach you and you're sincere, please teach me. Please, please, please teach me what you know. Please. Right? Teach me. Oh, Yahweh, the way of your laws, and I observe it to the end. Make me understand that I might observe your Torah and guard it with all my heart. Make me walk in the path of your commands, for I have delighted in it. Incline my heart to your witnesses, and not to own gain. Turn away my eyes from looking at falsehood, and revive me in your way. Establish your word to your servant, which leads to the fear of you, the reverence, the reverence of you. Turn away my reproach, which I dread, for your right rulings are good. See, I have longed for your orders. Revive me in your righteousness. Woo! Out there, the very next letter, the sixth letter, Vav. And let your loving commitments come to me, O Yahweh, your deliverance according to your word, so that I answer my reprover, for I have trusted in your word. And do not take away from my mouth the word of truth entirely, for I have waited for your right rulings, that I might guard your Torah continually, forever and ever, that I might walk in a broad place, for I have sought your orders, that I might speak of your witnesses before sovereigns and not be ashamed, that I might delight myself in your commands, which I have loved, that I might lift up my hands to your commands, which I have loved, while I meditate on your laws. Woo! 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 And then back to hey again. Make me walk in the path of your commands, for I've delighted in it. Wow. That was 119 verse 35 again within the hey section. Now we go to Sheen. Let's go to Sheen. Rulers have persecuted me. Yahebasha. What makes that name different from the Father is the Sheen and the Ayin. And the very first thing we read is, rulers have persecuted me without a cause. The truly innocent being made guilty on the behalf of the truly guilty. Woo! Rulers have persecuted me. This is, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. This is Sheen, verse 161 of Psalm 119. Excuse me. Rulers have persecuted me without a cause, but at your word my heart stood in awe. More bars. I rejoice at your word as one who finds great treasure. Oh, come on now. Let's clap it up for the Most High. As one who finds great treasure, I have hated falsehood and loathed it. Your Torah I have loved. I have praised you 7 times a day because of your righteous right rulings. Great peace have those loving your Torah, and for them there is no stumbling block. Yahweh, I have waited for your deliverance, and I have done your commands. My being has guarded your witnesses, and I love them exceedingly. I have guarded your orders and your witnesses, for all my ways are before you. Whew, whew, whew. That's what we call heat rock round my way. All right, now we want Ayin. Ayin. I have done right ruling and righteousness. Oh wow. So in Sheen, we're awaiting. So Hamashiach is awaiting the orders. I have done your commands. My being has guarded your witnesses, and I love them exceedingly. I have guarded your orders and your witnesses, for all my ways are before you. And then Ayin, we have a reconfirmation. I have done right ruling and righteousness. Leave me not to my oppressors. Oh, you were never left. You was never left, Mashiach. Guarantee your servant's well-being. It almost sounds like Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. They say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Remove this burden from me. Remove this. That's what it sounds like to me in this passage. I have done right ruling and righteousness. Leave me not to my oppressors. Guarantee your servant's well-being. Let not the proud oppress me. My eyes have pined away for your deliverance and for the word of your righteousness. See, we're talking about eyes again. And we're talking about being singular in our eye, not being led astray, not allowing darkness to creep into our mind, but to use the lamp to receive all of those things that are righteous, so that once we receive of them, they can be expelled and reflected back into the world. This is why it's so important to relearn what it was you missed out on up to this point in regards to the scriptures, so that you can stand firm and strong in the truth and be a light unto the world. Leave me not to my oppressors. Guarantee your servant's well-being. Let not the proud oppress me. My eyes have pined away for your deliverance and for the word of your righteousness. Do with your servant according to your loving commitment and teach me your laws. I am your servant. Make me understand that I might know your witnesses. It is time for Yahweh to act, for they have broken your Torah. Therefore, I have loved your commands more than gold, even fine gold. Therefore, all your orders I count as right. I have hated every false way. I have hated every false way. I mean, amen, I shade to that. What do y'all think about that? Look at this. English doesn't do this. English doesn't give us pictures that have deeper meanings based off the placement of the picture, based off of the phonetic sound that the picture conveys, based off of each phonetic sound being a tone or musical note, and then based off of those musical notes being comprised like a harmonistic song, like a song. Hold on. Grand Rising, all. So you guys know, my daughter caught the flu. We went to urgent care, received a text message, and I just walked into the building. The message said, "You'll receive text messages." Sister, we're going to keep you in our prayers, okay? We're going to keep you in our prayers. Keep baby girl in our prayers. May she have swift and speedy healing. I want you to give thanks for all that's happening right now. Even if you don't understand it, give thanks for it, because afflictions handled the right way will draw us closer to the Most High. Yeah, there are men and women in place that are learned in medicine. They are learned in all sorts of different professions that we need to rely upon at times. But the ultimate decider on our fate, on our destiny, is the Most High. So always leave your faith and hope in the Most High. We're your brothers and sisters, and we're going to keep you in our prayers, your daughter in our prayers, and we pray for a speedy and quick delivery. Okay? I came home and was taken down. Been sick for a week. This new is no joke. Okay, okay. Well, what you want to do? Don't eat any solid foods. I can tell you that much. You want to drink soup, okay? Focus on your chicken broth. Focus on things that are not so heavy that make your body have to work in overtime. Okay? You don't want to eat anything that's going to make your metabolism have to work overtime. Okay? Eat if you can, eat light things. Okay? Forgive, repent, and cast out. Faith, she is healed, and she is. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We have faith that she will be healed this moment. This very moment, her health is going to turn around. This very moment, your health is going to turn around. It is already on the upswing this very moment. Okay? Yes, I love Psalm 91. I love me some Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High, who abides under the shadow of the Almighty, he is saying of Yahweh, my refuge and my stronghold, my Elohim in whom I trust. For he delivers you from the snare of the trapper, from the destructive pestilence. He covers you with his feathers, and under his wing take refuge. His truth is a shield and armor. You are not afraid of the dread by night, of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that walks in darkness, of destruction that ravages at midday. 1,000 fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it does not come near you. Only with your eyes you look on and see the reward of the wrong one, because you have made Yahweh my refuge, the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil befalls you, and a plague does not come near your tent. For he commands his messengers concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They bear you up in their hands. You dash your foot against a stone. You tread upon lion and cobra, young lion and serpent you trample underfoot. Because he cleaves to me in love, therefore I deliver him. I set him on high because he has known my name. Because he has known my name. Ain't that what we talking about? Because he has known my name, he calls on me. I answer him. I am with him in distress. I deliver him and esteem him. With long life, I satisfy him and show him my deliverance. Selah, Say la. Say la. Speak life. Speak life. Speak life. No cheese or milk. Yeah, no dairy. Keep the greens. You want that? Keep the greens. You want that brat diet. What's the brat diet? A little bread. What's the R stand for? Rice. The A stands for applesauce. And the T, what did the T stand for again? Bread, rice, applesauce. And we gonna make up one for the T. Let's just say T. The T stand for T. Now I'm not no medical physician, but I do know that if you keep your body light, that virus will have to leave you because you won't be feeding it. And most of the foods that are in the system in the society, they feed viruses. They feed pestilence. That's what the processing is all about. When you eat good food, and I'm not saying you don't, sister, but when you eat good food, especially in an afflictive state, you'll heal quicker if you have an appetite. Good food, even if it's a cracker, a wheat cracker, just make sure it's not bleached. Okay? Get some moringa. Yeah, moringa is good for a consistent a consistent thing. You wanna make moringa a part of your diet, a daily thing. Okay. Oh, thank you. I'm too weak to eat food. I'm just drinking liquids. Leave it right there then. That's all you need to do is drink liquids. They have a pureed soup that's really, really good. If you have a DoorDash or somebody that can deliver groceries to your home, ask them to bring you the carton of pureed soup. It's the greens, but it's all pureed. I'm telling you right now, it's like one of the best things going when a person is sick. All you got to do is heat it up and sip it like tea. And it has all the nutrients, all the antibodies in it, antioxidants come through the greens because it's pureed. Well, that part too. If you're not able to eat fast, yeah, just fast. You're going to lose a little weight. You're going to lose a little weight. Sorry to interrupt your lesson. I felt it was important to share that they are attacking us through technology for real. Oh, no worries. I hope that your time, you're able to watch the beginning of the lesson and get back to it. We're coming up on that 3 hour mark now. And I'm just very grateful because on my side, it's telling me that my connection is unstable right now. But y'all are seeming to get the message loud and clear. So that's a blessing. What I do want to, man, my brother D Warner, my Ak is still going strong. Hey, all praises. That's my young bro right there. That's my young bro right there. I truly hope to see you on the battlefield, shoulder to shoulder, bruh. Shoulder to shoulder, bruh. I get down, bruh. I get down on the battlefield, bruh. I get down on the battlefield, bruh. I hope to see you on the battlefield, my G. Real talk. Shoulder to shoulder, though. Shoulder to shoulder. So look, this what we gonna do. Yes, I'll rewind. Yes, please do. All I was driving home was how important knowing the letters of the ancient Hebrew text really are in conjunction with the set apart names of the Father and the Son. No language, or not English, English doesn't convey thought like this. Yes, there's times, like I was saying, as rappers, as writers, we deal with double entendre, we deal with metaphor, we deal with simile, but those are normally conveyed in thought forms and thought patterns. Okay? Never have we seen a language where, so this anglicized letter H could mean hippopotamus, it could mean hungry, it could mean hurt. Like, when you're in grade school, they say H is for hippo, W's for walk. Like, they'll tell you, they'll tell you some madness just to get you to remember the letters. English doesn't work the same way that Hebrew does, though. Hebrew, this H, this symbol, this right here, that stands for something. That stands for a hey. It's the fifth letter for a reason. So, my point is this, y'all. Don't allow us to steer you into thinking incorrectly. Even your bruh, even me, even me. I'm asking y'all. Look, I'm showing you. Screenshot this. Screenshot this. Now you got it screenshotted. Now you take the screenshot and you match it up with the ancient Paleo Hebrew. So I'm not gassing you up. All your brothers doing is helping to plant the seed. Now here they go. Now here they go. Here they go. As soon as we talking the truth, here go the wicked one. But that's to be expected. Just take a screenshot of this, y'all. Let me get it out. The reflection. Take a screenshot. Okay. Now you want that so that you can study on your own. Okay. And what you just screenshotted was how you make the Father's name and the Son's name. Oh, this was a beautiful lesson today. I give all the praise and glory to the Most High. Thank you, Queen Sister. Hello, my name is for dropping by, conjuring up the strength to even join us today. Know that's not easy to do at all when you're under the weather. Okay. And yeah, we're gonna get medicine stock and stock up on food, you know, and make sure the food you get is your medicine. How about that? Get food that is your medicine. Begin, it's January now in different parts of the world. It'll be springtime at different parts of the world, right? But get your seed game up. Get your buckets. Go down to who has some good inexpensive buckets. Um, Shoot. You could go to your hardware store. I don't know if those buckets would be inexpensive, but the point is, you really don't want no buckets that had no chemicals in them anyway. But you want to go get you some soil. Somebody talking about me. Woo, somebody talking about me. Somebody talking about me. Well, I hope you having fun talking about me. So look, go and get you some soil. Go and get you some buckets. Get you some seeds, preferably some heirloom seeds. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Queen Sister. You're welcome. Thank you to everybody who joined today. Great advice. Great advice. I hope everybody took note of that. Um, but yeah, go ahead, get you some seed. Focus on the greens, the root vegetables like your sweet potatoes, your turnips, your radishes. Focus on that type of stuff because, oh, your ginger, if you can grow ginger, those naturally spicy aromatic foods, they definitely do a number on your blood in a good way. And they really help with your sinus, they help with your throat, your thyroid, all of that stuff. So make sure you get some of those good foods planted. And based off what we see in the land right now, it's just a smart thing to do. I think so. It would just be smart to go ahead on and grow some food, seeds and sprouts and peas. No beans, no soy. Yeah, soy is you know. Are you familiar with George Washington Carver, the elder George Washington Carver, rest his soul? He was one of our gurus. He was one of our big guys out here. He was born into slavery. Laugh out loud, like my new nickname. What's your new nickname? Type your new nickname. Type your new nickname. But yeah, George Washington Carver. I hope Carver ain't your new nickname. Sheesh. Sheesh. I hope Carver ain't your nickname. But he pioneered a lot. And it was the soybean that he utilized to help this government's military when there was a shortage on rubber. And he identified that, you know, the soybean was only really good for industrial purposes and it shouldn't be consumed. So he knew that way back then. And the first batches of soybeans was actually used as an alternative for rubber because the rubber trees were being harvested at such an exponential rate that they couldn't bounce back, no pun intended. And so they needed an alternative to rubber and it came in the form of soy. Well, now they put soy in everything and call it health food. And so that's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good look. So yeah, that's right. No soy, no soy. Now I would suggest for beans, do you some chickpeas or some field peas, aka black eyed peas. I don't like saying black eyed peas, but get you some field peas, get you some green beans. Okay, those are great. Those are great for you. Get you some lima beans. Get you some navy beans, some butter beans. Those are good beans. Those are the good beans. And you could turn those beans into meat. You could turn those beans into burgers and stuff. And do your vegan thing. And if they taste real good. Oh, what you say? Spicy roots, gingers and peppers. Yeah. And also get your spices because ain't nothing worse than having a bunch of rice and beans in an emergency situation and you ain't got no spices. Remember, we are the salt of the earth, Israel. We are the salt of the earth. We are the salt of the earth. We are the salt of the earth. And if the salt loses its savor, ooh, how we get that flavor back? That's why we got all the flavor, because we got the savor. We the salt. So look, y'all, I don't want to go off on a tangent. I haven't gotten any sleep today. I've been up and I said, you know what? I think it'll be better if I go live or this evening. Yeah, we got flavors for days. We flavorful. That's why out where I'm from in the Bay, we don't say a man don't say he got swagger. We don't say that. Not men. We don't say swagger in the Bay. We say a flavor. Women have swagger. Men have flavor. And if you're an Israelite, you got flavor whether you a woman or a man or a child. You know. But I didn't get no sleep today. I don't know what time it is. Oh, it's 11:15 my time. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Well, look, that's my time for today. If I'm inspired later on today, to go live again, that juice in ATL, that juice. See, yeah, yeah. We got that juice. That's what's up. Got that juice. I love it. I love it. So look, y'all. Love, fam. Real talk, bruh. Thank you for holding on. Thank you for joining this live stream, y'all. You know I love y'all to life. You know, we don't say love you to death around here. We speak life to one another. Yeah, sauce in North Carolina. Okay. Is that North Carolina? NC? North Carolina? So look, it's a blessing to be in this position as your brother. Remember this though. That it's up to you to work out your own salvation. Okay, sauce in North Carolina then. Check it. We all have to work out our own salvation. If I drank some soup today because I'm feeling some kind of way, that soup drinking is not going to affect you if you feel some kind of way. Not from what I drink. You have to drink it too. If I'm eating a big old sandwich today, I'm hungry, and you hungry too, you're going to have to eat the sandwich too. Watching me eat the sandwich ain't going to fill up your belly. I can talk all day about these scriptures. I can talk about whatever it is the Most High lead me to do. However, what I'm led to do is not going to suffice for what you are being called to do. The idea is to be motivated by one another and to use that motivation as a catapult into your calling. That's what's most important right now in 2023. If you haven't noticed already, the wheat and the tares are totally separated. Okay? I'm almost sure about this. And when I say almost, it's only reserved for those new little babies being born into this world. Okay? But I'm pretty sure the wheat and the tares have been separated. And this is the funny thing about the wheat and the tares. You know, Tares look so much like wheat that it's difficult to tell what they are until the harvest time. The wheat knows it's a wheat, and the tear knows it's a tear. But to that person looking at the both of them, it's very hard to discern. So, what does that mean for us today? That means that eventually, whoever's in your life, whoever you're dealing with, no matter what they say, no matter what they try to do, no matter how they want to perceive to move in front of you with that mask on, eventually the fruits of their actions are going to manifest. And it only takes one time. It only takes one time for those fruits to manifest and begin to sprout in a way where you can tell what that tree is. Okay? So it's very important that you keep your eyes open, that you move with a singular eye, as the scriptures say, that you allow your eye to be a lamp for the light of righteousness and not for the darkness of wickedness. Okay? It's real talk. It's real talk. Listen, we could be doing anything that we want to do, each and every one of us. And you know what? Who's going to stop us? Who's going to stop us in this realm? And if it's our time to go, it's our time to go. Right? I hope y'all know that. But in a scheme of what's actually going on, we have so much insolence and ignorance that the majority of the people on the earth is actually thinking that they're gonna be able to get away with it. It's like having a substitute teacher in school, and you know your teacher ain't coming back for like a month, and you got a substitute teacher, and the substitute can't even write half of the stuff that's been happening in the class because there's been so much craziness in the classroom. And you just got to wait for the teacher to come back to address all of this. And the teacher's so tired after spending a month away from class. She like, man, whatever y'all did, I hope you got it out your system because you ain't be doing it with me. You already know what the deal is, right? Unfortunately, though, when the teacher comes back this time, I plan to live, but honestly, I'm mentally preparing to let the flesh. Oh, you better stop talking like that. You better stop talking like that. I understand uh preparing for the worst but hoping for the best. I understand that. But that's actions. That's action. Preparing is action. Even taking hope is action. Speaking is action too. But speaking negatively to a change that you do not desire is something that you should refrain from. Okay? This is why I say I love you to life. I don't say what people like to say. Oh, I love you to the D word. Why say that? Why say that? I think that's very, it's like a give up mentality. Yeah. Come on, Queen Sister. That's we no, 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 I'm not laughing at you. No, we not on that time. I love you to life. That means that each day we have an opportunity to live in the fullness and rightness of our calling. What's your calling? You have an opportunity to live that. Okay? We not doing the other thing. Okay? We not doing that. We not doing that. You know, I wanted to be a lot in my life. Wow, you just typed life. I wanted to be a lot in my life. All single women. Listen, listen. You know, the scriptures are very interesting in that we read multiple passages, and I'll go off. I'm not going to go off on a tangent. Maybe I'll talk about this at another time too. But I brought this up last week, if I'm correct, in regards to how the men of Israel primarily, I have a couple studies up there, a couple lessons talking about women, we failed you, right? And I'm saying that with, I'm a man, and I'm saying women as a whole, we failed you. And I was primarily talking about the children of Israel. And I don't like to come across as misogynistic if I'm misconstrued. Okay. So, but I have to say this. Throughout the scriptures, we have an account of the terminology of the children of Israel. And the children of Israel in the terminology of scriptures are primarily men. This is where we get the designation from children of Israel to daughters of Zion. We know that the men of Israel, the boys, the males of Israel, are not daughters of Zion. That is the women and young girls and teenage girls and elder women of Zion, of the nation of Israel. Okay? Now, why do I say this? I think it's important to contextualize what's really going on in this day, because you made a statement about all single women going through it. And I don't necessarily think that has to be a case. Obviously, I'm not a woman. Okay? And in the hierarchy of how we were created, the Most High, Hamashiach, the man, the woman, the child, right? And the Ruach flows through all of that as the binding link, the binder to that hierarchy, right? So when I think about my position as a man, and you should be thinking about this as a woman, take hold of your mind, sister. Yes, that's where I was going with this. You are in a position to have divine covering. We talk about when a woman leaves her household, she is supposed to be with her husband. Now, what is a husband? A husband is a caretaker. A husbandman is a manager. A husbandman is a grower, a tender to, okay? Someone attends something. The traditional word for husbandman is one who deals with the running and maintenance of his land, whether it's through livestock and cattle, whether it's through his poultry, whether it's through his family, which that's what the ultimate goal for being a husbandman is, to correct and straighten that which has gone crooked. Okay? But he is the reflection on earth of the true and living power. I'm speaking on Israelite men. That man is a reflection of the divine Father. That is why in the garden, as erroneous as a man who wants to remain in toxicity would sound, he will say it was Eve or Hava's fault that she ate the plant, she ate the tree, she ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. When it was Adam's receiving of that command that was supposed to tend to that woman. Okay? That is why the man got punished and sin entered into the world through the first Adam. And it was the second Adam, Hamashiach, who had to redeem the world through his laying down of the life, of his life. That's why the scriptures call him the second Adam. He had to correct what the first Adam messed up. The first Adam was incorruptible, sinned, and made the rest of his progeny corruptible. While the second Adam was born sinless, but had to take on the sin of the world and then turn the world from corruption back into incorruption. What does that have to do with you as a woman? As a woman, if you do not have a husband in the flesh here, your husband, man, has to follow the hierarchy. Hamashiach, the Most High. You have a husband. But it is difficult to trust if you are not what? In Hay. If you are not in Hay, if you are not in Hay, in submission to the Most High, in reverence to the Most High, in I said reverence already, right? If you are not in these in a mind of humility to the Most High, guess what, sister? You're going to have a very, very difficult and interesting time. I think part of the reason you're feeling the ailment that you're feeling, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, is because there's something going on in your life that's causing you to doubt the Most High's divine will in your life. Okay? It's something that's causing you to doubt. Okay? So, what is happening right now is you have the prime opportunity to not trust me and what I'm saying, to not trust what the doctor is saying, but to turn your trust all the way around to the Most High. That's what your opportunity is right now. You have a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. What I was saying, though, about the men of Israel is this. We're living in a day right now. Yeah, life is beating me down. Yeah, yeah. My advice is to totally let go of those things that you feel you have had control over. You know, we have a saying, let go and let God. I know you've heard that before. Just let go and let God. That means let go of everything that you've tried to control through the mind that you have now, and let God handle everything that's actually going on in your life. Another thing that we see in here today is God's rejection is God's protection. If you are steadily chasing after something that is moving away from you, it's like having a carrot dangling in front of your face on a 20-foot pole. You see the carrot that you want, and you steady chasing the carrot that you not never gonna catch because it was designed to be in front of you in order to keep you on that hamster wheel. We know you strong, sister. We know that. And that's one of the tenets that hopefully you realize, though, that in your strength you are only strong because you was made that way for the reasons that you have to confront today. See, we also say God give his strongest battles to his strongest warriors. We're living in a day right now. Let me finish this thought, because you talking about husbands and men and being single and all of this. This is for my brothers too, my Akim. I need y'all to listen, whether you hearing on this live now or you come into it later on. No, sister, you not sounding like a Debbie Downer. I'm more concerned about how you're looking at things. It's because what's a Debbie Downer? A Debbie Downer is somebody who can see things from have a glass half full, but only focus on the empty part instead of the full part. See, what you got to learn how to do is take that glass. Hold on, hold on, hold on a second. I'm going to draw you a glass and some liquid in it. Okay, this a glass. See it? You see that liquid floating in it? Now, we got two options with this glass. We got two options. This is the halfway point right here. We got two options. Either I'm going to focus on this empty space that's in this glass and worry about my cup running out of liquid, or I'm going to look at what I have on this half, and I'm going to look at all the space I have to fill it up back to where it was supposed to be. Okay? The choice is each and every one of ours to do that. All I can do is suggest that you look at the glass half full, because I see sustenance in that glass. I see liquid, and more importantly, I see space to more liquid in the glass. Okay? Okay. We're living in a time, brothers. Akeem, listen up to me. Our lives are so precious. And of course, I'm talking to our sisters too, but I'm talking to the Akeem right now because of the prophecy concerning us. The children of Israel are always typified, well, normally typified as the men of Israel. Okay? We be getting chopped down by the Most High, brothers. We're living in a time right now where, as the war begins to pick up, the scriptures tell us, let me get it. The scriptures tell us that a man is going to be more precious than fine gold in these days to come. Why is that? Because there's going to be so much turmoil in the land that it's going to be hard pressed to find a man, a brother, This is something that we need to really pay attention to. If you want more context on this, go to Isaiah chapter 3, okay? Isaiah chapter 3, verse 2. The mighty man and the man of battle, the judge and the prophet, and the diviner and the elder, the commander of 50, and the highly respected man, and the counselor, and the skilled craftsman, and the clever enchanter. And I shall make use their heads, and children shall rule over them. And the people shall exert pressure, man on his neighbor. The young rise up against the older, and the lightly esteemed against the highly esteemed. When a man takes hold of his brother in the house of his father by the garment and say, come, be a chief over us, and let this ruin be under your hand. He shall swear in that day, saying, I am not a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor garment. Do not make me a chief of your people. We're moving into a time right now. Oh, very good. All praises. Listen, brothers. We're moving in a time right now where those who got shall get, and those who do not have, and those who have shall lose. Those who are looked at as the grasshoppers of society. Those men who are the preppers. Those men who seem to be astute. Those men who seem to have vision. There's going to come a time now where excuse me, I said grasshopper, I meant the ant. There's going to be a time when all of the grasshopper-minded men, all the men who wanted to play the fiddle, all the men who wanted to play the game every day, all the men who wanted to cut up and go to the club, all the men who wanted to go focus on the designer clothes and this and that, they're going to be the ones who are running to you, asking you to help them in their time of need. They're going to be the ones who are asking you, who is prepared for this time to come, to be a chief over them. And you're going to say to them, do not make me a chief. The bread that I have in my house is for my family. The meal that I have in my cabinet is for my family. The sardines that I have in my cabinet is for my family. The canned herring and all of those canned goods that I've been stockpiling, they got to be for me and my family. But that day is going to come because of all of the turmoil that's going to happen in the land. You see, before we get picked up from the four corners of the world, there's going to be great pain like we ain't never seen. And I got a strong feeling it's going to be coming very soon. Now, what do I mean by very soon? I mean within the next year, year and a half. We already see the symptoms of it, and I'm not here to talk about that too much. Not today, at least. But the point is, get your house in order, starting with this. Then get your house in order, starting with where you live. This is why it's so important to grow. But before you can grow food to be a proper husbandman, yeah, you have to prepare your mind. You have to prepare your heart. That's the number one prep. That's the number one prep. The subsequent preps are you making sure that you have everything else that you need in a situation where you're not going to be able to get your normal amenities. All right. That's why I always ask y'all, get some beans, get the big pound bag of rice and sit on it. Put it in a cool place, sit on it. Get your bag up and sit on it. Put it in a cool place, sit on it. Get your bag of potatoes. Get you the that are gonna last you. Get your canned goods. House equals body and mind. That's correct. Get that together first. Okay? Get that together first. And then go head on and worry about the preps. Oh, yeah, that's part of your house, sis. Queen Star, physical health a must. Fellas, get back into your calisthenics. Get back into, you don't got to worry about going to the gym. Make your room your gym. Do your push-ups, do your sit-ups, do your leg ups, do your crunches, do your lunges, do your jumping jacks. Get you a jump rope, skip rope, do your calf raises. Do everything that you would have done during summer training for football or for basketball. Pick it back up. Take your 5-pound weights, your 10-pound weights, and throw your weights. 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 Throw them. Don't hyperextend your elbows though. Them softly and just feel the weight. Build up your deltoids. Okay? Do the things that you can do without excuse. Okay? Because you're going to have to get your wind up. You're going to have to get your cardio up. If you drink, drink moderately. If you're smoking, this is where I ain't going to tell no man what to do like that. But if you're smoking, figure out how to cut back. If you off the herb, turn it into a brownie or something. So where you don't gotta smoke it. Eat it. Okay? But get your regimen back tight. Feel me? Get your regimen tight, fellas. And get the blood flowing again. Get the blood flowing again. That's all I'm gonna say. Get the blood flowing right. Okay? So what's going on is when all these brothers get to falling, just stop altogether. Stop smoking altogether. That's real talk. I started smoking herb when I was 19 years old. Okay. I was a late bloomer compared to all my partners, but I started smoking herb when I was 19. And I'm a fighter, I'm a boxer. So I was amateur boxer till I was 21. Now, I was smoking at 19, but I was fighting still, right? This is what I will say. I don't smoke no more right now. I stopped earlier. Well, I stopped in March of last year, and I haven't smoked since. And it was a blessing because what I realized is I'm slowing down on the weed for sure. Yeah, right on, Brother King. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not listen, bruh. I'm from the Bay. Okay. I'm from the Bay, man. Smoke like a chimney every day. Okay. But I'm telling you right now, that ain't the way to go. Not right now. What I learned what I learned in my move, and I already knew this, but to actually have to apply it, is that what's going to happen today isn't promised or guaranteed, right? So let's say, let's say your plug, you're not able to tap in with him when you out. Now I won't speak that on you. A person is out of they herb and they need to tap in with their plug. Guess what? If plug is way on the other side of the town and it's a whole big old fissure in the middle of the cement where can't nobody get to the other side, he can't throw you nothing and you can't throw him no money. Don't know internet work, you can't cash app him nothing. Guess what? Or the person can't cash app him nothing. It ain't gonna be no transactions, right? Then imagine getting the munchies, bruh. Imagine having the munchies after you just smoked a fat one, but ain't no more food. What you gonna do? Eat grass like a cow? What you gonna do? So see, that's what had me thinking. I was like, you know what? Yeah, plug becomes idle. And so that's why you want to just get your appetite back. It's gonna be some things that you're not really finna be able to do for about a couple weeks. But that's where if you could push yourself physically to sweat all of them toxins out, that's what happened with me, bruh. I just so happened to stop smoking at the beginning of, well, at the end of spring, right for the summer. I'm getting back active, Blessings, most of us is athletic anyway. So I was able to maintain my athleticism. But my point is, sweat all them toxins out. Get your blood flowing right, you know. Get your blood flowing right. I don't even drink no more, bruh. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Nothing. Because I don't want no vices to weigh me down because I see what's going on today. Okay? That's just me though. I was ready for that. You feel me? Sometimes we can hear somebody, yeah, body work. You could hear somebody say stop smoking, but if you not ready to stop smoking, bro, you not gonna stop smoking. We know that. You could be smoking right now, kicking back and actually learning with a sober mind, listening and actually meditating, resonating everything that's being said. But on the flip side of that, if you run out of the herb and you need it and you're not able to think straight off of it because you're too worried about that fix being able to smoke when you want to, that's where the problem gonna come in. It's not right now while you smoking and got it, is when it's gone. That's where the problem comes in. Drew, you know something? This complete collapse gonna be wild. Bruh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be super crazy. And that's why brothers talking about this bread and the scripture saying it's bread. Well, there's more to it. That's why I want y'all to read. Check this out. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 10. Say to the righteous, it is well, for they eat the fruit of their doings. So the righteous in this case are all of those who have been listening to the scripture, listening to what's going on, making the proper decisions and choices that's going to help them steer through all of the turmoil, okay? Woe to the wrong, evil, for the reward of his hand is done to him. His own hand is what's going to cause him to falter, okay? My people, youths exert pressure on them, and women rule over them. Right now, the Israelite man, this is who my people is talking about. See, remember I told you the scriptures use children of Israel? Well, my people are also the flock of my pasture, meaning the men of my people. Okay? So it's the men of Israel. We're the problem, bruh. We've always been the problem. I don't have no issue saying that. I'm your brother. We've always been the problem, bruh. We've been the problem. Our sisters saw us cutting up, and a sister could do things 10 times better than a man gonna do it. When she get to feeling it, it's a wrap, bruh. Because women are gonna go off. A man is gonna control himself in his retardation, right? A woman is gonna see that example, and she gonna do it 1,000 times harder than what he doing it. that's the nature of women and men. That's why, listen, if a woman sees that kind of energy coming from her dude, from a man, period, she gonna take it a whole nother level, bruh. We would, all praises. Brother, you got it. We're the appointed head and we failed. And now our children exert pressure on us and our women rule over us as a whole because we have lost our leadership capabilities. And this is why our women find it hard to allow us to lead them, unfortunately. And now, after so many generations of going through the other aspect of our situation, it's almost like we're barely hanging on by a thread, bruh. This is why, if I'm gonna get before y'all on this live streaming and do all of this, it have to be in decency, in order, and in righteousness. There have to be some kind of example. Now I said, well, who am I? What? Oh, so you trying to be the example, bro? Who you think you is? That's not what I'm on, family. I made the decision after analyzing everything that we've been going through to say, man, I got to be some kind of fixer of this, even if it's within me. I got to. I got to. Okay? If that rubs off on you, all praises. Ooh, thank you. If your actions rub off on me, all praises. And I'm talking about the righteous stuff. But as men, we led ourselves astray and was seduced by what the other nations had going on. Our women saw that. Our women are supposed to be raising the children inside as we guide all of them. If our guidance is off and faulty, our women is going to be off and faulty and way better than us being off and faulty. And our children ain't going to stand a chance. That's why when this day come, listen to this. Your leaders led you astray and swallowed the way of your paths. Yahweh shall stand up to plead and is standing to judge the peoples. Yahweh enters into judgment with the elders of his people and its heads. It is you who have eaten up the vineyard. The plunder of the poor is in your houses. What do you mean by crushing my people and grinding the faces of the poor? Declares the master. Yahweh of hosts. And Yahweh says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and seductive eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a jingling with their feet. Therefore, Yahweh shall smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh expose their nakedness, just like the exposition of nakedness in the garden after the first sin. In that day, Yahweh takes away the finery of the anklets and the headbands and the crescents and the pendants, the bracelets and the veils, the headdresses and the leg ornaments and the sashes and the perfume bottles and the amulets, the rings and the nose jewels, the costly robes and the cloaks and the shawls and the purses, the mirrors and the fine linen and the turbans and the large veils and everything our women like. And everything we have allowed ourselves to be distracted by when it comes to our women as men. Check this out. The curses, the relationship between the womb and the head. Come on. I like that. And it shall be instead of a sweet fragrance, a smell of decay, and instead of a belt, a rope, and instead of a well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a festal robe, a girding of sackcloth and branding instead of loveliness. Your men shall fall by the sword, and your strength in battle. We were supposed to be our women's strength. Up, here we go. Here we go. The Aleph, the very first letter, the very first letter, the very first two letters, Aleph Bet of the Hebrew alphabet. The Aleph, the picture, I said, shoot, I might have talked about it. Hold on. And here we go. This is the Aleph. That's the Aleph. Okay? The Aleph is an ox or a bull's head. That means strength. Or El. Come on. That means father. Strength. The Bet is a symbol of a home, of a house.